At the age of 8, Bruce Wayne witnessed the brutal murder of his parents, a traumatic event that would haunt him for the rest of his life. In the aftermath, a compassionate police officer, James Gordon, was the first to offer him any solace, however small. The family's loyal butler, Alfred, stepped in as his guardian, doing his best to care for the shattered child. But the damage was done. Bruce's innocence was lost in a single horrific moment. Consumed by grief and rage, he vowed to dedicate his life to seeking justice for his parents, setting into motion a relentless pursuit of vengeance that would shape his every action from that day forward. In the years that followed, Bruce immersed himself in an exhaustive regimen of training, honing both his mind and body to their absolute limits. His pursuit of perfection was all-consuming. He mastered an array of disciplines, detective techniques, criminal psychology, engineering, and even the intricacies of disguise. He became proficient in escape artistry, tracking, acrobatics, and weaponry, including marksmanship. Every skill, every knowledge he acquired was another step towards his singular goal, each discipline feeding into the larger vision he had for himself. Bruce's quest for self-mastery took him across the globe, where he sought out the most refined martial art disciplines. His journey led him to North Korea, where he uncovered a hidden Korean monastery and met Kirigi, a master of the League of Assassins. Initially treated as little more than a servant and an outsider, Bruce eventually earned the chance to train with Kirigi's disciples in Takagora Ryu, a deadly form of shinobi arts. Through relentless dedication, he mastered the techniques, even defeating Kirigi's top student, Shiva. This victory earned Bruce the respect of his sensei, granting him access to the deeper knowledge he had long sought, along with more advanced training to further refine his skills. After several years abroad, Bruce returned to Gotham with the intent to claim his inheritance and take the helm of his family's company. However, he quickly realized that to truly honor the lessons he had learned, he needed to become more than a man. He needed to become a symbol. Drawing on a childhood fear, he chose the image of a bat, intending to strike terror into the hearts of criminals. Though Alfred was initially opposed to the idea, he ultimately supported Bruce, helping him transform the caves beneath Wayne Manor into a hidden headquarters, what would come to be known as the Bat Cave. Bruce also formed an alliance with Lucius Fox, though he kept his plan secret from him at first. With the help of Fox, he designed the first armored batsuit and utility belt, assembling them from materials sourced both from the Batcave and the Wayne Enterprises company. He also reconfigured a prototype stealth jet into the Batwing, which would serve as both a mode of transport and a weapon. For over 2 years, Batman waged a silent and relentless war on Gotham's criminal underworld, targeting everything from petty muggings and robberies to the city's most powerful mob bosses. He took on figures like Carmine Falcone and his rival, Sal Maroni, while also confronting emerging threats such as Black Mask and the Penguin. His efforts extended beyond the reach of the police as he solved complex cases that baffled Gotham's finest, such as tracking down the holiday-themed killer known as Calendar Man and investigating a crime wave orchestrated by the enigmatic Red Hood. Batman suspected the Red Hood was more than one person, a theory that would prove troubling when his first encounter with the criminal took a disastrous turn. During a break-in at the Ace Chemicals plant, the Red Hood fell into a vat of chemicals. The event was a rare failure in the Bat's crusade, and the Red Hood's body was never recovered. Despite this setback, with each victory, Batman's confidence grew, as did his arsenal and his influence over Gotham's underworld. Most criminals began to see him either as an urban legend or some kind of supernatural force, both of which worked to his advantage. This psychological edge allowed him to exploit their growing paranoia, as they realized a mysterious and powerful threat was now targeting their control over the city. Batman also deliberately avoided media attention, maintaining the mystique of his symbol while making his presence felt in the shadows. As the new year approached, he became convinced that he alone stood between Gotham's innocent citizens and the predators who preyed on them, and that no opponent, no matter how formidable, could defeat him. Come the night of Christmas Eve 2013. On this particular Christmas Eve, Gotham was thrown into chaos when Black Mask launched a sudden and seemingly random attack on Blackgate Prison, taking Police Commissioner Jillian B. Loeb hostage. Batman arrived on the scene to help. His first priority was to rescue Warden Martin Joseph, who was being beaten by one of Black Mask's henchmen. Following this, he made his way through the prison. It was then that he noticed a drone tracking Black Mask's movements. Batman pursued him to the death row execution chamber, but arrived too late to prevent Black Mask from freeing Calendar Man and executing Commissioner Loeb. Batman proceeded to retrieve the damaged drone's memory card before heading to the roof. There, Black Mask made his escape in a helicopter, but not before Batman was confronted by none other than Killer Croc. After a brutal fight, Batman defeated Croc and attempted to extract information about Black Mask's whereabouts, but the brute remained silent. With no answers, Batman left Croc and prepared for the next step in his pursuit. Back at the Batcave, Batman analyzed the memory card from the damaged drone using the Bat computer and uncovered a chilling revelation. Black Mask had put a $50 million bounty on his head, drawing some of the world's deadliest assassins to Gotham. In order to retrieve the necessary information to put a stop to this, Batman set his sights on the drone's pilot, Oswald Cobblepot, the Penguin. Batman made his way to Jezebel Plaza, where he sought out Ricky Looselips LeBlanc, one of Penguin's arms dealers. Observing him from the shadows, he watched as LeBlanc and the Penguin's henchmen conducted a weapons deal. Batman intervened, disrupting the transaction, and attempted to interrogate the arms dealer. In the heat of the moment, however, Batman unintentionally choked LeBlanc into a state of unconsciousness. After LeBlanc recovered, Batman continued the interrogation on the rooftop of Gotham Merchants Bank, only for the Penguin himself to text LeBlanc, checking on the status of the deal. Seizing the opportunity, Batman took the phone's memory card, using it to hack into the Penguin's communications. This left Looselips of no use to Batman, who dropped the arms dealer from the roof, sending him crashing into the plaza's Christmas tree below. Batman soon realized that he needed to triangulate the signal from Penguin's private radio network through a series of relay stations. Once he had done so, he overheard the Penguin discussing the boiler deck fights, an event being held aboard his ship, the Final Offer. Batman surmised that Cobblepot might have information on Black Mask's whereabouts and decided to investigate further. On board the ship, he encountered the Electrocutioner, a would-be assassin, whose loudmouth bravado was quickly silenced when, following a confrontation, Batman knocked him out with a swift kick to the face. Batman then arrived just in time to interrupt Penguin's brutal interrogation of Alberto Falcone, the son of his rival. In the confrontation, Penguin revealed a crucial piece of information. Black Mask was dealing with his own set of problems, including a murder that had taken place at his Lacey Towers safe house. Before Batman could probe further, he was confronted by the deadly assassin, Deathstroke. The ensuing battle was intense, but Batman eventually emerged victorious, seizing Deathstroke's remote claw as a prize. Afterwards, he contacted Alfred, arranging for an anonymous tip to be sent to the GCPD about Deathstroke's whereabouts. However, Alfred had more news. Police chatter suggested that the murder at Lacey Towers might not have been a random killing at all. In fact, the victim was speculated to be none other than Black Mask. After leaving the final offer, Batman intercepted a transmission from Anarchy, a political radical who threatened to bomb corrupt institutions across Gotham and challenged the vigilante to stop him. Batman quickly tracked down the bombs, one at a bank, one at a casino, and the other at the GCPD, disabling each one just in time. As he finished, he received a call from Anarchy, who wasn't angry but rather intrigued by Batman's crusade. The radical revealed his location, the Solomon Wayne Courthouse, and proposed a partnership to rid Gotham of its corruption. Batman refused the offer, and a confrontation ensued. Anarchy and his followers launched an attack, but Batman emerged victorious. As he unmasked Anarchy, he was stunned to discover the radical was actually a teenager named Lonnie Macon. Anarchy, defeated and disheartened, muttered to himself about how he could have done better. For a moment, he even considered joining forces with Batman, but ultimately rejected the idea, and Batman left him to be arrested by the police. Arriving at Lacey Towers, Batman discovered that the police had concluded Penguin was responsible for the murder of Black Mask, believing him to be the victim at the crime scene. After careful examination, Batman realized that the body at the scene was not Black Mask, and it appeared Penguin had visited the location after the murder had occurred. Batman's suspicions grew as he deduced that the true murderer was likely a new and dangerous criminal, a figure who had yet to reveal himself. Needing crucial information to solve the case, specifically a DNA analysis to confirm the identity of the murderer, Batman infiltrated the GCPD building to access the National Criminal Database. As he maneuvered through the corridors, he located the office of Captain James Gordon. From the other side, Batman overheard an argument between Gordon and his daughter Barbara about his view on justice in Gotham. Gordon remained steadfast, insisting that it was the responsibility of the police, not vigilantes, to maintain order in the city. Batman continued his stealthy advance, eventually reaching the area where Gordon was giving orders. The captain was directing the GCPD to be on high alert for remaining assassins, who were after the Batman. As Batman moved deeper into the GCPD building, he uncovered a troubling development. The corrupt SWAT leader, Howard Brandon, was determined to claim the bounty on his head. With Commissioner Loeb dead, Brandon and other crooked officers were also worried that James Gordon might be considered for the commissioner's role. Thus, they were discussing ways to damage Gordon's reputation before he could take office. Batman then found a way into the interrogation room, where he confronted Ricky Loose Lips LeBlanc once again. Under pressure, LeBlanc revealed the existence of a disruptor, a device capable of jamming weapons and overriding security protocols. Before Batman could retrieve the disruptor from the evidence room, SWAT officers had secretly released several inmates, instigating a riot in the holding cells. Batman quickly retrieved the disruptor and then proceeded to quell the chaos. He then used the device to bypass the locks guarding the server room, where he hoped to gather critical information. As he worked, he encountered Barbara Gordon, who surprisingly offered advice on how to establish a permanent connection with the database. Their conversation shifted when she asked what motivated Batman to be a vigilante. His response was simple: a promise. Just then, a tear gas grenade was tossed into the room, and Barbara quickly left to distract the officers, claiming she had been on the phone with a friend. Batman, using the ventilation system to escape, made his way back to the roof. However, during his retreat, he encountered Captain Gordon, who still saw Batman as a menace, just as dangerous as the criminals and corrupt officers he was fighting against. The confrontation escalated into a fight, and despite Batman's best efforts to avoid the encounter, he was forced to knock Gordon unconscious. Batman ventured into the sewers beneath the Gotham City Police Department to secure a permanent access point to the database. As he navigated the tunnels, he stumbled upon a disturbing sight: Black Mask's gang planting explosives under several key buildings, including the police department itself. After neutralizing the thugs, Batman reached the terminal he needed to access the database and continue his investigation. Once inside, the information he uncovered painted a clearer picture of the events leading up to the murder at Lacey Towers. Through the database, Batman deduced that Black Mask had been the third person at the scene. The crime lord had sent in a body double as a decoy before confronting the real murderer. However, Black Mask had been overpowered and abducted by the figure Batman had been tracking. This figure had taken Sionis's biometric data with the intent of using it to gain access to the Gotham Merchants Bank. As the clock struck midnight, Batman and Alfred exchanged quiet Christmas greetings, as the night would soon become the greatest challenge of Batman's career. Arriving at a bank already ransacked, Batman discovered the grisly scene of Black Mask's men slaughtered, their bodies littering the floor. In the midst of the chaos, Batman cornered Black Mask, only to learn that the man he had been chasing was none other than the criminal mastermind he would come to know as the Joker, who had disguised himself as Black Mask. The Joker had usurped Black Mask's criminal empire, orchestrating a bounty on Batman's head in the process. Before Batman could stop him, the Joker escaped with Black Mask in tow, along with an ambulance full of stolen cash, leaving behind a vault with a bomb about to detonate and an increasingly hysterical bank manager. As Batman scrambled to survive the explosion and save the bank manager, he discovered her lifeless body grinning maniacally, an early victim of the Joker's toxin. After dispatching a group of thugs sent by the Joker, Batman interrogated the last surviving member, learning of the Joker's brutal purge of Black Mask's gang and his capture of the real Black Mask, taking him to the steel mill. Batman tracked the Joker to the steel mill, determined to capture either him or Black Mask. In an elevator, Batman found the body of one of the Joker's henchmen. Scanning it to discover the man had been poisoned with a neurotoxin that induced terrifying hallucinations before death. Pressing on towards Black Mask's office, Batman freed the crime boss and demanded answers about the Joker's location. But before Sionis could speak, the venomous assassin Copperhead struck, poisoning Batman with a lethal toxin. On the brink of collapse, with the poison coursing through his veins, Batman scanned the toxin's traces and sent the data to Alfred, hoping for a cure. Delirious and fading fast, He fought through a series of haunting hallucinations, visions of a disappointed Alfred, the grinning bank manager, and the stern face of Commissioner Loeb. Staggering towards the upper floor drop-off point, Batman confronted what seemed to be multiple versions of Copperhead, each illusion more deadly than the last. With his mind slipping and his body weak, he relied solely on sheer willpower to survive. When the antidote finally arrived, Batman cured himself, swiftly dispatched the real Copperhead, and locked her in one of the nearby shipping crates, his body still trembling from the poison's grip. Tracking the Joker through the unique electromagnetic signature of the electrocutioner's shock gloves, Batman traced him to the Royal Hotel. There, he found the Joker and his gang had taken control of the building, rigging it with explosives, murdering the staff, and taking the guests hostage. The situation was further complicated by the arrival of SWAT, who were keeping the GCPD and Gordon in the dark about the takeover. Inside, the Joker was holding a meeting with the remaining assassins, discussing their failure to kill Batman. The meeting ended in the Joker's signature cruelty. He kicked the electrocutioner straight out of the window, and he fell to his death. As the assassins scattered following the meeting, only Bane remained, certain that Batman would soon be coming for the Joker. Batman retrieved the electrocutioner's shock gloves and used them to power up the hotel's deactivated electrical systems, delivering jarring shocks to the army of Joker's thugs in his path. As he made his way through the building, he worked to save the remaining staff, all the while horrified by the grotesque scene the Joker had created. Corpses of the hotel workers defiled with twisted Christmas decorations. Amid the chaos, Alfred's voice crackled through the comms, expressing concern over a spike in Batman's biometrics. Batman reassured him that he was fine, but couldn't shake the grim reality. The Joker was unlike any criminal he had faced in Gotham before. He was something far darker. On the top floor of the Royal Hotel, Batman finally confronted the Joker, only to immediately find himself face to face with Bane as well. Combat ensued, and realizing the fight was tipping in Bane's favor, Alfred, concerned for Batman's safety, contacted the Gotham City Police for backup. Their arrival interrupted the confrontation, giving Batman the opportunity to slip away. He quickly placed a tracker on Bane before the mercenary escaped via helicopter, pausing just long enough to fire a rocket at the Joker. The blast sent the lunatic tumbling from the hotel balcony. Without hesitation, Batman dove after him, catching the Joker mid-fall and saving him from certain death. He then left the deranged criminal with the Gotham City Police. Back in the Batcave, Batman learned from Alfred that Bane had been gunned down by the police. With no time to rest, Batman went to the Gotham City Police Department morgue to investigate the body. Alfred, giving voice to caution, urged Batman to abandon this crusade, fearing that his obsession would lead to his death. But Batman couldn't be swayed. Once at the morgue, he scanned the body, only to find that it wasn't Bane, but a different Venom user altogether. The toxic chemicals in the body pointed to severe heart and brain damage. As Batman processed the discovery, he overheard a radio report from the Gotham City Police Department that criminals were fighting over chemical weapons, a situation orchestrated by Bird, Bane's lieutenant. Following the lead, Batman made his way to the docks, where he found a matchbook from a club called My Alibi. At the club, Bird had taken control, but Batman quickly subdued him and left him for the Gotham City Police to imprison. Batman then infiltrated Bane's field headquarters and uncovered a chilling recording left by the Brute. Bane, aware of the fatal consequences of his venom addiction, had been working on a compound that promised a permanent boost in strength. However, the new formula came with a devastating side effect. It caused brain damage, leading to severe memory loss and diminished intelligence. As Batman explored further, he discovered a cache of files that revealed a horrifying truth. Bane knew that Batman was Bruce Wayne. Enraged by this, Batman destroyed the computers in a fit of fury and immediately contacted Alfred, warning him that Bane was likely on his way to Wayne Manor. He advised Alfred to take refuge in the Batcave, where he would be safest. Before Batman could return to Wayne Manor, Firefly launched a vicious assault on the Gotham Pioneers Bridge, forcing both Batman and Captain Gordon to team up to neutralize the pyromaniac and his deadly bombs. While defusing the explosives, Batman intervened to save corrupt SWAT leader Howard Brandon from Firefly's thugs. However, Brandon, ungrateful, attempted to attack Batman, only to be swiftly subdued and left unconscious. Batman managed to defuse all but one of the bombs, but when Firefly engaged him directly, the fight escalated. Despite Batman's warning to let him handle it alone, Gordon disregarded this and stopped Firefly from detonating the final bomb. In the ensuing battle, Batman damaged Firefly's jetpack, leaving him dangling helplessly for the police to arrest. In the aftermath, Batman and Gordon shared a quiet moment of mutual respect, both acknowledging that neither would have been able to resolve the crisis without the other's help. While Batman was away, Bane infiltrated the Batcave, ruthlessly beating Alfred nearly to death. As Batman received a call, Bane was on the other end, taunting him, offering Alfred a few last words, if Batman could get there in time. When the Dark Knight returned, the Batcave was in ruins, Bane nowhere to be found. Alfred lay dying amid the wreckage. In his final moments, Alfred, weak but resolute, implored Bruce not to add his death to the burden he already carried. Desperate, Batman used the electrocutioner's shock gloves to resuscitate Alfred, bringing him back from the brink. As Alfred regained consciousness, Batman expressed his growing doubts about his ability to protect Gotham, feeling the weight of this evening and this mission crushing him. Alfred, ever the steadfast mentor and guardian, reassured Batman that Gotham needed him, but reminded him that he couldn't carry that burden alone. Before he could speak further, a call came through over the police band. The Joker had taken control of Blackgate Prison. Finally acknowledging the need for allies, Batman joined forces with Gordon and the Gotham City Police to retake Blackgate. Together, they worked to free Harleen Quinzel and a group of guards held hostage by the Joker's loyalists. The Joker had ordered Batman to be brought in alive, and as Batman listened to him over the intercom, he realized the clown was relishing this, as well as their last encounter, and was eager to prolong their twisted game. After making his way through the prison, Batman at last confronted the Joker in the Panopticon, only to once again be ambushed and blindsided, and thrown into a confrontation with Bane. The Joker, in his twisted theatrics, had strapped himself to an electric chair while holding a hostage Captain Gordon, rigged to execute the both of them unless Bane's heartbeat stopped. In a desperate move, Batman used the shock gloves to induce cardiac arrest in Bane, ensuring Gordon's survival. Joker, satisfied with the chaos he had caused, departed. Batman then proceeded to use the shock gloves to resuscitate Bane, who was furious to be denied the peace he sought in death. Enraged, Bane attempted to restart his venom supply, only to find Batman had destroyed the control pad. With no other option, Bane injected himself with his latest version of a super venom serum, TN1, transforming him into a hulking, monstrous figure. Batman fought back, trying to subdue the beast by blowing up the floor beneath them, but the explosion sent both of them crashing into the cells below, trapped in the depths of the prison. With Alfred's help, Batman learned that TN1 would reach its full potency in just 10 minutes, giving him a limited window to act. He quickly forced Bane into the electric barriers, stunning him long enough to knock him unconscious. But Bane recovered and tossed Batman into another room. Thinking quickly, Batman set a trap, hoisting Bane up by his foot and delivering a painful electric shock. With a sardonic "good luck," Batman left Bane behind, determined to track down the Joker. When Gordon called for a paramedic to treat Warden Joseph, Batman immediately rushed to the scene. He found the warden lying on the ground, but before he could do anything, Killer Croc grabbed him from behind and pulled him into a headlock. At that moment, a sniper took aim at Batman, but Gordon, ever quick on the draw, shot the sniper just in time. The sniper's bullet grazed Croc's arm, forcing the creature to release Batman and retreat into the chaos. Gordon arrived at Batman's side, and the two fought off a wave of inmates trying to harm the warden. Batman, surprised by Gordon's efficiency, learned that the captain's rough upbringing had forced him to learn how to defend himself against the kind of thugs who had made his childhood a constant struggle. With the warden safely under Gordon's watch, Batman carved his way through the prison, heading straight for the Joker in the chapel. The clown was reveling in the chaos, laughing maniacally and claiming it was the best night he'd ever had. The Joker then mocked Batman, suggesting he was eager to kill so soon after Bane's death. But Batman informed him that Bane was still alive. Joker attempted to provoke Batman, hoping to goad him into taking his life, but instead Batman unleashed a brutal beating, one that left the Joker barely conscious but, as always, alive. Afterward, Gordon, witnessing the scene from a distance, made the decision to let Batman go, believing that despite everything, the vigilante might just be what Gotham needed. 1 week following the incident at Blackgate Prison, Bruce Wayne hosted the Humanitarian of the Year Awards at Wayne Manor, where he fully backed the winner, Ferris Boyle, the CEO of Goth Corp. But the celebration took a violent turn when the temperature suddenly plummeted, followed by a massive ice explosion in the ballroom. It was then that the Penguin's thugs, armed with cryogenic weapons, stormed the manor and took the guests hostage. Their leader, a man in a mechanized suit called Mr. Freeze, demanded Boyle's surrender. Amid the chaos, Bruce slipped away to find Alfred, only to walk into an ambush. After dispatching several of Penguin's men and rescuing Alfred, Bruce retreated to the manor's wine cellar, accessed the Batcave, and returned as Batman. When he emerged, the manor was ablaze. Batman rescued many attendees, including Vicky Vale, and then he tracked down the captured Boyle, only to be overpowered and trapped by Freeze, who seemed surprisingly uninterested in killing Batman. Freeze dragged Boyle away, and Batman, freed from his icy prison, took down a few more thugs, before learning from a captured henchman that Boyle was going to be taken to one of Penguin's dealers in South Gotham. Batman soared off on the Batwing, determined to stop Freeze. Batman found South Gotham in chaos, largely deserted but teeming with disorder. The Gotham Pioneers Bridge had been sealed off by a massive wall of ice, while Anarchy's henchmen were fueling riots across the city. As he searched for the Penguin's dealer, Batman stumbled upon a frozen cop and discovered that Penguin's crew had been using cryogenic weapons to freeze people, but Batman was able to use his thermal guns to rescue them. Continuing on the trail, he eventually found Penguin's dealer, who revealed that Mr. Freeze was holed up at GothCorp. Inside, Batman confronted Freeze, who had been betrayed by the Penguin, and found Boyle still held hostage. While Batman took out the Penguin's snipers, Freeze used his powers to trap the Penguin in a wall of ice before making his own escape deeper into the building while placing a wall of ice behind him. From Penguin, Batman learned the only way to break the ice was with a cryo drill, which had been stolen and hidden at My Alibi. Before entering My Alibi, Batman received the extreme environment bat suit from Alfred and suited up. He then entered the nightclub in search of the cryo drill, finding loose lips in the private back room. After a tense interrogation, Batman learned the drill was in pieces. He gathered the parts, but soon discovered he would need a supercoolant used in a lab run by a man named Victor Fries. Returning to GothCorp, Batman found Fry's abandoned lab, uncovering the tragic story of Fry's transformation into Mr. Freeze while securing the coolant. Boyle had been secretly developing cryo-weapons at his business, enlisting Dr. Victor Fries to assist. However, Fries became consumed by his own research, focusing on finding a cure for his wife Nora's fatal illness. Boyle, angered by Fry's shift in priorities, threatened him before inadvertently causing an accident in the lab. In the chaos, Boyle kidnapped Nora and left Fries to die. The accident transformed Fries into Mr. Freeze, consumed by vengeance and a desperate need to rescue Nora from Boyle's grasp. With the supercoolant in hand, Batman returned to the propellant lab and used the cryo drill to shatter the ice. He then entered the cryogenic testing facility, where he found Freeze, Boyle, and Nora. Batman faced off against Freeze in a brutal confrontation. When Nora's life was threatened, Freeze rushed over to protect her, giving Batman a brief opening. Seizing the moment, Batman took Freeze down. Batman then subdued Boyle and rescued Nora, before telling Freeze that while he couldn't offer him peace, he could deliver justice, inferring the arrest of Boyle, bringing an end to another fateful night in Gotham. 3 months later, during a routine patrol, Batman crossed paths with a thief in the midst of a high-tech heist. She introduced herself as Catwoman before making a swift escape, leaving Batman to confront the guards from the Department of Extra-Normal Operations stationed throughout the building and across rooftops. After an intense pursuit, Batman finally cornered her, bringing the chase to an end and leaving Catwoman to the authorities. 2 weeks after this incident, Batman received an urgent call from Captain Gordon. Another riot had erupted at Blackgate, and the prisoners had seized control. Making his way to the prison by the river, Batman infiltrated the facility where he found Catwoman in the midst of a struggle and intervened, saving her from a group of thugs. From her, he learned that the Joker, Penguin, and Black Mask had taken control of 3 key areas: the administration office, the cell blocks, and the industrial area. Catwoman, eager to assist, offered to team up with Batman, helping him navigate the complex. She also revealed that several hostages were trapped in the Arkham wing, where Joker had cut the air supply, leaving them with only hours of breathable oxygen. Batman started his assault on the cell blocks, where he uncovered Penguin's twisted arena, with prisoners forced to fight for sport. Attempting to shut the arena down, Batman was forced to face the reigning champion, Bronze Tiger. A swift battle ensued, and Batman emerged victorious, though he refused to take Tiger's life. As Penguin's thugs closed in, Tiger, showing unexpected honor towards the man who had bested him in battle and spared him, held them off long enough for Batman to press on in pursuit of the Penguin. Penguin managed to escape the lighthouse, cutting off Batman's path. Batman retraced his steps to the administration offices, where he retrieved the newly completed line launcher, a tool crucial for continuing his pursuit. With the device in hand, he pressed towards the lighthouse, but on the way, he was informed by the Joker that the Clown Prince had captured Warden Joseph and rigged him with explosives, something Batman would have to solve after he had handled the Penguin. Batman returned to the lighthouse and finally caught up with the Penguin, bringing him down. But the victory was short-lived. He soon learned that Black Mask was attempting to overload Blackgate's power generators. This would trigger a catastrophic chain reaction that would destroy everyone in the explosion's vicinity, including Batman and Joker, whom Black Mask held responsible for his fall from power many months earlier. As he made his way to the industrial area, Batman encountered a massive, undead creature in the sewers, a being known as Solomon Grundy. After a fierce battle, Batman defeated the monstrous figure before finally catching up to and confronting Black Mask, ultimately thwarting his deadly plan. With Black Mask dealt with, Batman returned to the administration building, determined to stop the Joker and rescue Warden Joseph. But before he could get there, he was intercepted by Deadshot, who had struck a deal with all three crime bosses, tripling his fee, and now sought to claim the ultimate prize by killing Batman. After a tense confrontation, Batman defeated the deadly assassin, before finding and then freeing the Warden. He then proceeded to Joker's office, where he finally confronted the Clown Prince of Crime. After taking down Joker, Batman retrieved the set of codes needed to disable the gas that was about to be released on the hostages. But as he examined the situation, he realized something troubling. The air supply in the Arkham wing hadn't been cut off at all, contrary to what Catwoman had told him. Batman made his way to the Arkham wing, only to discover that there were no hostages. Instead, he discovered a frail, weakened Bane. It was then that Catwoman revealed the truth. She had been using Batman all along, maneuvering him to help her retrieve Bane, the target she had been hired to recover, in order to settle a debt. Betrayed, Batman pursued her to the docks for a final confrontation. But before he could learn who had employed her, a Special Forces team, led by Captain Richard Flagg, intervened and arrested Catwoman. The Blackgate riot was finally quelled, but in the chaos, Black Mask, Penguin, and the Joker had all managed to slip through the cracks, vanishing into the shadows once more. Throughout the night, the riot had been secretly monitored by Amanda Waller. The breakout, it seemed, may have been orchestrated by her department, a covert operation to acquire Bane as one of the potential candidates for the Suicide Squad. While Catwoman had failed in her mission, Captain Flagg had to abandon Bane in order to avoid drawing suspicion. Waller still succeeded in securing Deadshot and Bronze Tiger. As Waller and Flagg's helicopter departed, they were unaware of Batman's nearby presence, as a silent tracer had been planted on the underbelly of the helicopter by the Dark Knight. Sometime later, Batman found himself targeted by District Attorney Harvey Dent, Gotham's revered White Knight, for operating outside of the law. Yet, with the help of Commissioner Gordon, Batman persuaded Dent that, if they worked together, they could rid the city of crime within a year. Their partnership proved effective. Batman apprehended criminals that eluded the Gotham City police and uncovered critical evidence for cases, while Gordon began his efforts to clean up the corrupt police force. Meanwhile, Dent prosecuted Gotham's worst, refusing to be bribed or intimidated. However, their alliance shattered when Carmine Falcone was put on trial. During the proceedings, Falcone hurled acid at Dent, horribly disfiguring the left side of his face. The attack shattered Dent's psyche, unleashing a new, fractured personality obsessed with duality. Two-Face. Consumed by vengeance, Two-Face became convinced that Batman had used him as a convenient scapegoat for Gotham's criminals, a symbol they could strike at without consequence. What Two-Face didn't know was that Batman felt deep regret over his inability to protect Harvey, and the guilt weighed heavily on him. It only worsened when, in rare moments of clarity, the original Harvey Dent would resurface, speaking to Batman with a faint glimmer of the man he once was. After Arkham Asylum was reopened, Batman kept a vigilant eye on the facility, wary of another riot like the one at Black Gate. During one of his patrols, he took a visit to Dead Man's Point, a cliff notorious for being a spot where hopeless patients often, well, you know. After saving a patient from taking the plunge, Batman stumbled upon a hidden cave system beneath the island. To his surprise, the caves connected directly to the sewers under Arkham's intensive treatment area. Seeking potential in this secretive network, Batman decided to establish a secondary base of operations, his home away from home. Over the years, Batman secretly transported equipment to the island, slowly constructing a hidden refuge. Walkways were built, leading to a central platform, and a new Bat computer was set up, allowing Batman to transfer critical data between the island and his primary system at Wayne Manor. Additional supplies were stockpiled, left untouched but ready for use whenever needed. To protect its secrecy, Batman ensured the existence of this new Batcave remained known to no one but him, a hidden sanctuary that would serve as his silent watch over Arkham, should the need ever arise. Batman maintained a quiet but valuable ally in Barbara Gordon, who was as resourceful as she was determined. The GCPD, trying to prove that Batman was more than a myth, began work on a prototype of the Batsuit and its gadgets, reasoning that only someone with vast resources could afford to take on the identity of the Dark Knight. But their efforts took an unexpected turn when Barbara's father, Commissioner Gordon, was taken hostage by the new supercriminal, Killer Moth. In a bold move, Barbara stole the prototype suit and, adopting the mantle of Batgirl, set out to rescue her father. Batman, impressed by her bravery and resourcefulness, took things a step further, As Bruce Wayne, he invited the Gordons to an event at Wayne Manor. There, he allowed Barbara to hack into his private network, giving her the opportunity to break into the Batcave and discover his secret identity. Batman saw it as an opportunity to gain an ally, someone he could trust and train. He took Barbara under his wing, guiding her through the rigorous discipline of crime fighting. On another night, while attending Haley's circus, Batman witnessed the tragic demise of the Flying Graysons during their acrobatic set. Sabotaged by criminals seeking to extort the circus, the Grayson family perished, all but their son Richard, or Dick as he went by. Feeling a deep kinship with the orphan boy, Bruce took Dick under his wing, adopting him as his ward. Over time, he trained Dick as his second crime-fighting partner, Robin. Together they fought crime across Gotham, forming a dynamic duo. Years passed, and as Dick grew into a formidable hero in his own right, he sought a fresh start. Wanting to forge his own identity, he left Gotham and adopted the name Nightwing, establishing himself as a hero in the town of Bloodhaven. As one partner departed, another arrived. Batman encountered Jason Todd, a brash, impulsive kid caught trying to steal the Batmobile's tires. Seeing potential in the troubled boy, Batman took him in and began his training as the next Robin. But Jason proved to be a more volatile pupil. His sense of justice was fierce, bordering on reckless, and he struggled with Batman's philosophy of reforming criminals. Jason's desire for vengeance and his urge to eliminate criminals outright created a rift between him and Batman, one that Batman found increasingly difficult to bridge. Driven by his relentless quest for vengeance, Jason Todd eventually sought to kill the Joker, but was captured by the Joker in the process. Batman later received a video of the Joker torturing Jason and, in a cruel twist, seemingly killing him before he could reveal the truth about Batman's identity. Devastated by the loss, Batman spent months in mourning, haunted by his own failure. However, just as Batman was beginning to process his grief, he was surprised by the arrival of Tim Drake, a clever and resourceful teenager who had figured out his true identity and that of Nightwing after recognizing him in the crowd the night the Flying Graysons had been killed. Impressed by Tim's intellect and bravery, Batman was convinced to train him as the third Robin, hoping the boy could carry on the mantle. The Joker, meanwhile, had a way of manipulating those around him, and Dr. Harleen Quinzel was no exception to this. Over time, the Joker convinced her that he was the true victim in his endless war with Batman, painting himself as a misunderstood soul, merely trying to spread laughter to Gotham's broken people. His lies were so convincing that he turned her love and sympathy into a twisted obsession, ultimately transforming her into his abused partner and sidekick, Harley Quinn. Batman, seeing the tragedy in all of it, often gave Quinn the chance to walk away, but she remained ensnared by the Joker's cruel influence. More often than not, he found himself arresting her, only for the Joker to use her as a shield or scapegoat, keeping himself out of Arkham time and again. Over the years, Batman had fought and captured these and many more criminals countless times, locking them away in both Blackgate and Arkham, only for them to escape again and again, unleashing chaos upon Gotham. In response, Bruce Wayne, using his civilian identity, began supplying Arkham with better security equipment to prevent further breakouts. Yet, even with these improvements, criminals like the Joker reveled in their attempts to escape, seeing the asylum almost as a twisted second home. Among the rogues, Batman viewed the Mad Hatter as little more than an annoyance, too consumed by his delusions to be a true threat. The Scarecrow, however, was a different matter entirely. He repeatedly tried to break Batman's mind with his fear gas, but the Dark Knight's indomitable will remained unshaken, protecting him from the terror that would have broken any other man. At one point, Batman finally crossed with Amanda Waller, and he was far from impressed. He quickly connected her to numerous criminal operations, with some of Gotham's worst under her control, often resulting in disasters that he was left to manage. Waller, however, was unconcerned with the legal or moral implications of her actions. To her, the ends always justified the means, even if it meant breaking a lot of eggs to make an omelet. Her ruthless pragmatism grated on Batman, who found her willingness to sacrifice anything and anyone for a greater goal deeply unsettling. Due to his past training with Kirigi, Batman eventually became the target of Ra's al Ghul, the enigmatic leader of the League of Assassins. Ross, claiming to be over 600 years old, captivated Batman, who, despite the mystery of his longevity, found the man too honorable to doubt. Batman came to respect Ross as they shared a goal to end criminal activity, though he was repulsed by Ross's cold view of justice. He sought to eliminate criminals rather than reform them. Ross offered Batman a place in the League as his successor, and even sought to arrange a marriage between Batman and his daughter, Talia al Ghul, though there was undeniable chemistry between them, leading to a brief affair. Batman had no interest in joining Ross's cause. One fateful night, the Joker visited Barbara Gordon at home, shooting her and paralyzing her, a move done to emotionally devastate her father, Police Commissioner Gordon. What the Joker didn't foresee, however, was the profound effect it would have on Batman, who, like Gordon, blamed himself for not being able to protect her. Despite the devastating injury, Barbara refused to let her disability define her. Embracing a new identity as Oracle, she used her exceptional hacking skills to become Batman's eyes and ears, gathering critical intelligence from behind the scenes. She stayed in radio contact with him during his missions, effectively freeing Alfred from some of his responsibilities, and ensuring that Batman had the support he needed while in the field. Still weighed down by guilt, Batman arranged for Barbara to live in an apartment within the Bleak Island Clock Tower, which she soon transformed into her base of operations. The tower was equipped with advanced servers designed to expedite data processing for crime scene analysis, all linked directly to the Batcave's own computer systems. For added security and convenience, a secret hatch was installed on the roof, allowing Batman and Robin to enter the tower without drawing attention, a discreet way to maintain their connection with Oracle while ensuring her safety and independence. On another night, the Joker got his hands on a dirty bomb, a device capable of destroying nearly half of Gotham. Though Batman managed to capture the Clown Prince of Crime, The bomb was nowhere to be found. The Joker was sent back to Arkham, but Batman, relentless as ever, began a feverish hunt, scouring Gotham for any lead, clue, or trace that might reveal the bomb's location. In his search for the bomb, Batman tracked down the Riddler, hoping he could lead him to its location. After apprehending him, Batman managed to save the Riddler from Amanda Waller's guards, returning him safely to Arkham Asylum. A few days later, Batman encountered Harley Quinn vandalizing a department store. When confronted, Harley claimed she was simply coveting a new line of dolls, though her erratic heartbeat made it impossible for Batman to discern whether she was telling the truth. Despite his suspicions, Batman left her for the police to handle. Later, Batman rescued a woman from the sadistic Victor Zsasz, but as he returned to the Batmobile, Alfred contacted him about a code yellow at Arkham Asylum. Initially, security footage showed nothing unusual, but Batman's sharp instincts kicked in when he noticed a guard who wasn't supposed to be there, revealing the footage had been looped. Racing to the island, Batman arrived to find Arkham on full alert and discovered the Suicide Squad attempting to break into the asylum's evidence room. A fierce battle erupted, with Batman facing off against the squad, each member wielding a unique set of skills and stolen weapons. He was locked in a brutal confrontation with Black Spider high in the rafters when a massive explosion suddenly interrupted the fight. In the chaos that followed, King Shark, Killer Frost, Deadshot, Captain Boomerang, and Harley Quinn made their escape. From the wreckage, Black Spider emerged, clutching Batman's utility belt as a grim trophy, seemingly ready to cement his place in history as the man who killed the Bat. The Suicide Squad made their way to the medical center, following a plan to disarm the bombs implanted in their necks with the help of the Riddler. Black Spider stood watch while Riddler worked to overload the implants using voltage from electroshock chairs. As the process unfolded, Waller, sensing betrayal, tried to contact Deadshot, but realized she was being double-crossed and attempted to detonate the bombs. Only King Shark's bomb detonated, his tough hide proving resistant to the shocks, leading to his death. However, Black Spider's survival raised questions. In a calculated move, Batman had switched costumes with Spider during the explosion, revealing himself just as the Joker burst in, opened fire, and whisked away Harley Quinn with her iconic mallet. Batman pursued, but a bullet from the Joker grazed his temple, temporarily taking him out of action. After Batman caught up to and cornered Boomerang, Killer Frost, and Deadshot, the Joker broadcasted to Arkham that the dirty bomb he had previously captured would be detonated, and all inmates were to be released for his detonation party. Batman quickly shifted his focus, subduing Bane and Poison Ivy to help the Gotham City police contain the rest of the chaos. He then pinpointed 3 heartbeats and a bomb aboard a passing helicopter. Without hesitation, Batman pursued in the Batwing, determined to stop the threat. The helicopter crashed into a skyscraper under construction, and Batman landed on its roof just in time. Realizing the bomb was hidden in Harley Quinn's mallet, he knocked her out and disabled the device. However, just as he thought he'd succeeded, Batman turned to see the helicopter plummeting, the Joker still trapped inside. The crash left the Joker seemingly dead, but true to form, he somehow managed to escape once again. A day later, with Arkham back under control, but both Joker and Deadshot still at large, Batman confronted Amanda Waller in her office. He issued a stark warning. If she continued her dangerous games, there wouldn't be a next time. It remains unclear whether Batman knew Deadshot was poised to take a shot at Waller, but it's possible that he allowed Lawton to fire warning shots, using the tension to make Waller seriously reconsider her actions. Either way, the encounter left a clear message. Batman's patience had limits, and Waller had pushed him to the edge. Batman also knew the Joker wasn't truly dead. His search for the Clown Prince of Crime eventually led him to the maniacal villain, and he succeeded in capturing him once again, returning the Joker to Arkham Asylum. There, Dr. Young was assigned to treat him, but a year later, around Christmas, Joker and Harley Quinn made their escape yet again. When Bane vanished from Blackgate, Batman believed it to be another escape, expecting the Brute to remain hidden until he could track him down again. What Batman didn't know was that Bane had been quietly freed through the Joker's influence, sent to Arkham under the guise of aiding Dr. Young's research. Batman was later contacted by Dr. Stephen Kellerman, a psychiatrist assigned to treat Jonathan Crane, the former Scarecrow. Kellerman had grown suspicious that Crane was secretly slipping his fear toxin into their sessions, as the doctor's behavior had become increasingly erratic and paranoid. Beyond that, Crane's arrogance, believing he was the one in control of their meetings, had been grating. Trusting Kellerman's instincts, Batman ordered a blood test, which confirmed traces of the fear toxin, cleverly concealed in Crane's cologne. Batman then concocted an antidote, just in time for Crane to execute a daring escape plan. When the breakout unfolded, Batman infiltrated the facility, pumping the antidote into the ventilation system, leading to the failure of Crane's escape plan. On another night, Batman was alerted to an anonymous tip left in Dr. Sarah Cassidy's office at Arkham, revealing that she had been kidnapped by Victor Zsasz and taken to the old country hospital. Batman caught Zsasz off guard, rescuing Cassidy from his grip. Later that month, another tip came, this time in the form of a note attached to a test tube. Inside, Batman discovered an unusually potent, colorless, and odorless fear gas, similar to Scarecrow's toxin but far more dangerous. While experimenting with the fear gas in the Batcave, a few molecules escaped the vacuum seals, plunging Batman into a nightmare of fears and hallucinations. Struggling to regain control, he fought through the torment long enough to craft an antidote from the gas's formula. With his mind cleared, he went and tracked down Scarecrow, ambushing him and dragging him back to his cell. Meanwhile, the Gotham City Police Department received a tip, a 911 call that came just moments before the Joker launched a raid on Gotham City Hall and took the mayor hostage. The Joker strapped the mayor to a large pillar on the roof of Gotham City Hall, attaching a bomb to his waist. Batman destroyed the Joker's detonator and expertly removed the bomb before it could detonate. The Joker attempted to escape using a parachute, but Batman intercepted him. As he escorted the defeated villain back to Arkham, Batman contacted Oracle over the radio, voicing his growing suspicions about the 3 anonymous tips, wondering if they all came from the same source, and questioning the suspicious case of the Joker's capture. Batman had arrived at Arkham in the Batmobile, transporting the Joker to the intensive treatment center. Yet, the Clown Prince of Crime seemed unusually buoyant, almost pleased to be back within the asylum's walls. Sensing something was amiss, Batman informed Warden Sharp, that he would personally follow the Joker to his cell. Officer North then mentioned that Commissioner Gordon was waiting for him on the lower levels, where the Joker's cell was located. The Joker was strapped to a prisoner trolley and wheeled through the intensive treatment lobby, flanked by a contingent of security guards, including Frank Bowles, with Batman close behind. As they passed through, the Joker remarked on the newly heightened security, amused at how it would complicate his future escapes. He also noted the strange coincidence of a fire at Blackgate Prison, which had sent hundreds of his goons and other criminals flooding into Arkham. Batman, catching the insinuation, realized the Joker was biding his time, waiting for the right moment to strike. He confronted the Joker, asking why he had allowed himself to be captured so easily, and what he was truly after. The Joker's response was a mocking taunt. "Oh, nothing much. Just hundreds dying in agony and suffering, all thanks to you and a book of matches. Is that the answer you wanted?" As they continued through the facility, the Joker gleefully made biting remarks to Warden Quincy Sharp, Aaron Cash, and Dr. Young, before being escorted into the elevator. As the elevator descended, a sudden blackout plunged the facility into darkness. Guards scrambled in confusion, while the Joker's laughter echoed through the shadows, manic and unrestrained. When the lights flickered back to life, they revealed Batman, having swiftly restrained the Joker by the neck. Once they reached the lobby, the Joker was unstrapped and handed over to a guard and an orderly, while Batman and Commissioner Gordon stood watch. Batman was stopped at the threshold, unable to go further, as the presence of so many unstable patients could provoke a volatile reaction. It was then, in that moment of seeming calm, that the Joker made his move. Batman could only watch as the Joker broke free, killing the unsuspecting doctor and guard. In response, the Dark Knight battered his way through a reinforced security window, but by the time he reached the room, the Joker had already escaped. It was then that Batman realized Harley Quinn had been controlling Arkham's security systems from the start. The Joker's first move was to release a group of thugs from their cells, and though Batman dispatched them with ease, the Joker made his way through the patient transfer unit, calling out to Batman to follow, eager to lead him deeper into his twisted game. Batman tracked the Joker deep into the bowels of the intensive treatment center, navigating a grim path littered with the bodies of fallen Arkham security guards. His pursuit was momentarily interrupted when he discovered a hostage situation in the patient pacification chamber. There, the escaped Zsasz had taken a guard named Mike and strapped him to an electroshock chair. After neutralizing Zsasz, Batman was greeted by Harley Quinn on the asylum's monitors, her voice dripping with mockery. She taunted him, showcasing Warden Sharp as her latest captive. Batman slipped out of the chamber through the ventilation system, following the Joker's trail of spray-painted smiles and arrows. The path led him to the secure treatment transfer area. The Joker then flung open a large patient transfer cell and unleashed a monstrous, experimental creature. The beast lunged at Batman, but its life was cut short by a simultaneous heart attack and brain aneurysm, much to the Joker's frustration. Incensed, the Joker taunted Batman, offering him one free shot, encouraging him to knock him from his perch he was on and end the chaos once and for all. Batman hesitated, his hand hovering over a batarang, but he was unwilling to cross his one line. The Joker sneered, calling him too predictable. As the Clown Prince of Crime made his escape through the patient transfer system, he announced a party was in the works, with villains from all corners of Arkham joining in the madness. Meanwhile, Batman worked furiously to reactivate the transfer unit. As he did, the Joker appeared on a monitor, gleefully revealing a disturbing image. Frank Bowles, his apparent ally, had knocked out Commissioner Gordon and was holding him hostage, threatening to kill him if Batman dared follow. Batman tracked Gordon's location using the Cowl's detective mode to follow the faint traces of alcohol left by Bowles' bourbon flask. The path was fraught with Joker's traps, fumes of Joker venom, and scattered, sinister, chattering teeth. He navigated through the dark elevator shafts and returned to the intensive treatment lobby, where he finally caught up with Bowles. But it was too late. Bowles was dead, strapped to a gurney, no longer of use, with no sign of Gordon. The Joker then seized control of Arkham's intercom, his voice echoing through the island as he ordered his goons to destroy the Batmobile, all the while taking over the west side of Arkham. Batman quickly contacted Oracle, instructing her to disable the car's defenses, just in case her father was caught up in the chaos. When the wrecking crew didn't have Gordon, Batman found a clue: the Commissioner's pipe, a birthday gift from Barbara, alongside a trail of wild country tobacco. Batman isolated the scent, a subtle but telling sign that Gordon was still alive. After retrieving a fresh supply of explosive gel from the Batmobile's trunk, he resumed his relentless pursuit. The forensic trail led Batman to the medical facility, which was under siege by the Joker's men. The Joker had ordered his goons to round up all the doctors, with a particular focus on Dr. Young. Batman fought his way through, rescuing the doctors and Officer Cash. Dr. Young, however, insisted on returning to the Arkham mansion to retrieve her notes, and despite Batman's concerns, Cash offered to escort her. After dealing with another group of thugs, Batman took the elevator to the lower levels, where he found the place now under Scarecrow's control. There, amidst the shadows, lay the lifeless body of Commissioner Gordon. The horror didn't stop there. He was confronted by hallucinations of his dead parents, their animated corpses mocking him. He then faced a nightmarish obstacle course orchestrated by a towering, omnipotent Scarecrow. Realizing he was under the influence of fear toxin, Batman fought back against the delusions, his mind clearing long enough to track Gordon, alive and well, to his true location. Batman finally found Gordon and rescued him from Harley's clutches in the experimental chamber. Batman confessed to Gordon that he wasn't sure he could stop the Joker this time, the madness spiraling too far out of control. But Gordon was an anchor, reassuring Batman he would stop the Joker once again, and then suggested they investigate something the Joker had locked away in the holding cells below. What they found wasn't the Joker's typical brand of chaos, but something far more unsettling. It was Bane, though not as they remembered him. The massive figure was strung up by his venom tubes, clearly drained of the drug for days by Dr. Young, not the Joker. But the Joker had seized the opportunity, injecting Bane with a new formula that restored him to his monstrous size, seemingly enhancing his strength even further. Batman and Bane clashed in the boiler room, Bane's newfound power overwhelming Batman at every turn. Despite the odds, Batman managed to sabotage Bane's delivery tubes, narrowly escaping as the ceiling collapsed around them. What should have been a momentary victory quickly turned into another nightmare. Bane, now fully powered, and fully enraged, smashed his way to the surface, swearing vengeance on both Batman and Dr. Young. Batman told Bane that this time, Bane would be the one who was broken. With a swift command, he remotely piloted the Batmobile, crashing it directly into Bane and sending both the villain and the vehicle tumbling into the sea. After sending Gordon back to Gotham by boat, ensuring his relative safety, Batman made his way to the secret Batcave he had constructed years ago, beneath Dead Man's Point. There, Oracle sent him critical files hacked from Dr. Young's computer. Dr. Young had been working on a project known as Project Titan, an experimental chemical treatment intended to repair brain damage. Originally derived from Bane's venom, the treatment ended up with the potential to create superhuman monsters, beasts far stronger than Bane himself. When Young discovered this, she attempted to shut down the project, but Joker orchestrated a crime wave and even faked his own capture to take control of Arkham, all with the intent of seizing the Titan formula for himself. With this knowledge, Batman's mission became clear: find Dr. Young's missing Titan formula and destroy it before the Joker could use it to create an army of super-powered terrors, monsters stronger and more dangerous than anything Gotham had ever seen. Navigating the dark catacombs beneath Arkham, Batman made his way toward Arkham Mansion, intent on finding Dr. Young. Upon reaching Dr. Young's office, a lead from her computer revealed that the formula he was after had already been hidden elsewhere. Batman traced her recent fingerprints to the library, where he found the formula concealed in a book and destroyed it. But the Joker had one more move. He had sent Zsasz after Dr. Young. Batman raced to intercept them, only to be ambushed by Scarecrow's fear toxin once again, plunging him into a haunting vision of his parents' murder. He broke free, but by the time he arrived at Warden Sharp's office, it was too late. Zsasz had taken Young hostage. Batman did find them and subdued Zsasz before freeing Dr. Young, though the toll of the night weighed heavily on her. In a moment of fragile emotion, she lashed out at her captor, but Batman managed to calm her enough to learn critical information. There was a hidden chemical production facility in the asylum's botanical gardens, where the Joker planned to manufacture Titan once she was forced to hand over the formula. She revealed that Batman would need Warden Sharp's security codes to access it, and Batman was about to retrieve them from Sharp's safe when he stumbled into a deadly trap. A spray-painted face, a clear warning from the Joker. Batman had no time to act before the explosion went off, and when the dust cleared, Dr. Young was dead, leaving Batman unconscious in the aftermath. When Batman regained consciousness, he was met with Harley's mocking taunts as she gleefully beat a helpless Warden Sharp with his own cane. After leaving him in the hands of a few thugs to prepare him for the Joker's party, Batman made quick work of the goons, then scanned Sharp's bloodied cane to extract a DNA sample. Following the trail, he was led to the penitentiary, where he encountered a hysterical Poison Ivy, still locked in her cell. She pleaded for help, claiming that her plants were suffering, but Batman ignored her madness and told her to stay put. Tracking Sharp's DNA further, Batman reached the penitentiary's security control room, where the warden was bound and trapped in a control booth. Along the way, he was taunted by Clayface, who had taken on the forms of Cash, Sharp, and even Commissioner Gordon. But Batman wasn't fooled into releasing the shapeshifter. He freed Sharp just in time to see the Joker's latest schemes. A video showing Harley freeing Ivy and the Joker releasing the most dangerous inmates in the asylum to sow chaos, locking in both Batman and Sharp in the process. Despite Sharp's insistence that his security codes were useless without the destroyed terminal in his office, Batman improvised. Using Sharp's code sequencer with his own cryptographic sequencer, Batman overloaded the asylum's security systems, deactivating the Joker's barriers. He ordered Sharp to stay safe while he went after Harley, and the warden, eager to stay out of the action, was more than happy to comply. Batman finally found Harley in the cell block, cutting through her barrage of thugs and neutralizing the electrified floor panels she had set up to slow him down. Pressing the chase, he followed her into the guard room, where he found 2 guards, Louis Green and another, suspended over electrified water, a bomb of Joker gas ticking away beneath them. Batman disarmed the situation, saving both men just before the bomb detonated. He then pursued Harley to extreme incarceration, where she unleashed more goons and more electrified traps. Batman fought his way through, and Harley's failure to stop him led to her being removed from the Joker's party list. With Harley defeated, Batman locked her away, and using the DNA traces she had left scattered across the island, traced the Joker to the botanical gardens. In this pursuit, he found himself deep in the sewers beneath those gardens, where he overheard the Clown Prince of Crime above him conducting experiments with the Titan formula. As he listened, he heard Joker inject one of his henchmen with a new batch of the serum, only to learn that the formula was still unstable. When the thug's body, now lifeless, was discarded into the sewers, Batman examined it. The only sign of the formula's effect was the man's enlarged arm, still pulsing with the dangerous chemical. With the route to the glass house blocked, Batman was forced to take the path to the aviary, certain that the Joker was there. Upon entering, he found that the Joker had strung up 2 orderlies, Luke Curtis and Robert Sterling, in bird cages above a yawning chasm, daring Batman to rescue them while his armed henchmen patrolled the area. Batman successfully defused the hostage situation, retraced Harley's trail, and finally hacked into the secure entrance to the Titan production facility. The delay, however, had given the Joker just enough time to perfect his formula. Batman watched in grim silence as the Joker demonstrated its potency, injecting 2 of his thugs and leaving them to attack. With the hulking Titan-infused monsters now in his path, Batman fought them off, eventually defeating both and continuing his pursuit of the Joker. As he made his way through the gardens, Batman passed the lifeless bodies of orderlies Luke Curtis and Robert Sterling. The Joker had killed them during his retreat, making Batman's earlier attempt to save them meaningless. Realizing that the only way to stop the Joker's rampage was to find an antidote to the Titan serum, Batman turned to the one person on Arkham Island who might hold the key: Poison Ivy. Knowing she had the knowledge of plants, and that he could force her to cooperate if he threatened her precious flora, Batman went to confront her. Batman made his way to the glass house where Poison Ivy was tending to her beloved plants. The tranquil scene quickly shattered when Batman destroyed one of the plants, causing Ivy intense pain from the severed connection to her natural world. In her agony, she reluctantly told him that the antidote to the Titan formula could be found in the sewers, which now served as Killer Croc's lair. The plant spores capable of countering the Titan chemical were there, hidden among the dark, flooded tunnels. As Batman left the botanical gardens, he overheard the Joker's voice over the intercom. The Joker had injected Ivy with 2 doses of Titan, transforming her into a more powerful, monstrous version of herself. With her newfound strength, she seized control of the island's surface, her evolved plants wreaking havoc across the facility. Batman made his way to the Arkham mansion, where he found Cash. Cash informed him that there was another entrance to Croc's lair, this one located at the intensive treatment center. As Batman made his way through the crumbling halls of Arkham, Oracle called him, urgently warning him about the seismic activity affecting the island. Batman explained that it was Ivy's doing. As of now, she controlled Arkham East and was working her way across the island. Oracle stressed the danger. If Ivy's plans were allowed to spread beyond Arkham, the destruction they could wreak on Gotham would be unimaginable. Batman vowed that he would not let this happen. Arriving at the intensive treatment lobby, Batman found it heavily booby-trapped, with the gargoyles disabled to prevent him from using them for stealth. He fought through the thugs guarding the area and managed to hack into the control systems, deactivating the barriers and allowing access to the elevators. But just as he was about to proceed, a strange intercom message played. Something about last night's game, before Batman's vision blurred, and Joker's distorted laughter echoed in the darkness around him. Batman then found himself caught in a surreal déjà vu, trapped in a twisted version of earlier events, but this time with himself in Joker's place, being brought in to Arkham Asylum. The vision was disorienting, and before he could make sense of it, Joker shot him. It was then that Batman realized, once again, he was under the effects of Scarecrow's fear gas. Fighting to clear his mind, Batman managed to grab Crane by the hood, but the fear toxin hit him hard. Scarecrow jabbed his syringes into Batman, plunging him into yet another hallucination. But this time, Batman's will proved stronger than the drug, stunning Scarecrow. Unwilling to stay and face defeat, Crane fled into the sewers. Batman pursued him as Crane threatened to poison Gotham's water supply with a pouch of fear toxin. Just as Batman closed in on Scarecrow, Killer Croc emerged from the murky depths, attempting to drag Crane into the sewers. Batman threw a batarang at Croc's shock collar, incapacitating the creature long enough to save Crane from certain death. But before Batman could fully process the moment, Croc dragged Scarecrow into the sewage, leaving Batman standing alone in the sewer's depths. Batman ventured into the labyrinthine tunnels where Croc had made his home, carefully collecting samples of the anti-venom spores. With Croc's mind degraded to the point of near imbecility, Batman easily lured him into a trap, dropping him into a deeper level of the sewers. With Croc out of the way, Batman returned to the Batcave, where he synthesized an antidote. However, Ivy's plants, now overtaking the cave, destroyed his computer before he could produce more. Batman returned to the surface, where the island was bathed in an eerie red glow from Ivy's spores. Ivy's voice echoed throughout the area, furious with Batman for damaging her precious plants. Irritated by her incessant obsession with vegetation, Joker's voice cackled over the intercom, mocking her for never shutting up about it. Ivy shot back with a threat to hunt him down once Batman was dealt with. Joker told her he'd be ready, boasting of his army of Titan monsters, then humorously suggested she bring the wine while he'd make the salad. Batman then confronted Ivy in the gardens, using his explosive gel to dismantle the protective shell surrounding her, which in turn stopped her plans from spiraling out of control. With all of his enemies on the party list taken care of, Joker had his henchmen set off fireworks to celebrate, then directed Batman, the guest of honor, to the party at the visitor center near the cell blocks. Upon Batman's arrival, instead of fighting him, the goons welcomed him with surprising cheer, confirming his name on the guest list and allowing him safe passage. Inside, Batman discovered a bomb planted by Joker, and following the explosion, the Joker's true lair was revealed: a bizarre throne room atop a pile of plastic toys. Joker sent 2 more Titan-powered thugs to confront Batman, who swiftly defeated them. Joker then revealed a kidnapped Commissioner Gordon and fired a shot of Titan strain at him. However, to the Joker's delight, Batman stepped in and took the shot. Joker's joy quickly turned to anger when Batman resisted the transformation. In a moment of bitter resignation, Joker declared he had nothing left to live for, as Batman had thwarted him once again. In a theatrical, absurd gesture, he injected himself with the Titan serum, acting as if the shot had dealt him a fatal blow. Joker quickly awoke, transformed into a grotesque Titan monster, his insanity allowing him to maintain his full intelligence. Delighting in the chaos, he directed the circling Gotham News helicopters and reporter Jack Ryder to the rooftops of Arkham. Strapping Gordon to an electrical chair above a makeshift arena, Joker positioned him as the referee for the incoming fight. The mutated Joker taunted Batman, urging him to take the Titan injection, claiming it was the only way they could fight on equal terms. But Batman refused. Instead, he used the single antidote injection on himself, which only amused Joker further. What followed was a brutal clash, with Joker's henchmen lending their support to their leader. Batman managed to overpower Joker, knocking him into the electrical generator that had been used to torture Gordon. Joker staggered to his feet, defiantly proclaiming that he could withstand anything Batman threw at him, and taunting the Dark Knight to bring on the next round. Batman sprayed explosive gel onto his glove and boldly declared that he would never let the Joker win. Batman charged, and the explosive charge on his fist landed squarely in Joker's face, knocking him down with brutal force and ending the fight. With Joker defeated, the Gotham City police took control of Arkham Island, securing the inmates and returning them to their cells. They also monitored the Titan-infected thugs, who gradually returned to their normal states. Joker's own transformation back to humanity was agonizing, far more so than the others, as the severe injuries he sustained added to his suffering. In the end, he was securely locked away once more, his grand plans thwarted, and his madness once again confined. However, the calm was short-lived. Gordon quickly relayed that Two-Face was in the middle of a heist at the Second National Bank of Gotham. Without hesitation, Batman boarded the Batwing, and with a powerful roar of its engines, he soared into the night sky. 18 months after the Joker's chaotic night at Arkham Asylum, Quincy Sharp was elected mayor of Gotham City, proudly taking credit for the fall of the Joker's control over the island. Soon after taking office, Sharp declared Arkham Asylum and Blackgate Prison unfit for use and announced the construction of Arkham City on Gotham's southern banks, disregarding the warnings of both Batman and Gordon. Batman, convinced the project was a disaster waiting to happen, monitored Arkham City closely for many months, always on the lookout for any reason to breach its heavily guarded walls. By midwinter, Batman persuaded Commissioner Gordon to find someone with the necessary resources and influences to spearhead a protest against Arkham City. He suggested Bruce Wayne, and Gordon agreed. At a press conference held outside Arkham City's gates, Bruce Wayne arrived fashionably late, taking his place as the public face of the opposition. With reporters Vicky Vale and Jack Ryder covering the event, Bruce boldly spoke out, warning that gang leaders were waging a violent war within the prison walls, a conflict that could soon spill over into the streets of Gotham. But before he could say more, Tiger Guards, Tiger being a military contractor brought in by Hugo Strange and Mayor Quincy Sharp to serve as the security force for Arkham City, dispersed the crowd while knocking Bruce unconscious. Bruce awoke to the sharp jolt of a stun baton, finding himself shackled, his hands and feet bound. Standing before him was Hugo Strange, who, to Bruce's horror, revealed that he knew his secret. He knew Batman's true identity. Strange spoke cryptically about something known as Protocol 10, claiming it would make him famous, and warned that if Bruce tried to interfere, he would expose him to the world. Desperate, Bruce attempted to escape, but backup arrived, and the guards retaliated with brutal violence, forcing Bruce to submit. He was then escorted, bound for Arkham City. Strange coldly told him that his cuffs would remain on. He didn't want to make things too easy for him. With a final mocking farewell, Strange doubted they would meet again. As Bruce was locked between doors, he discovered Jack Ryder was confined with him. He told Ryder to stay close and remain calm, but as soon as the door opened, Ryder ignored him and charged ahead. Despite being shackled and at a disadvantage, Bruce fought off the attackers, managing to pull Ryder to his feet as they made their way into Arkham City. When the gates finally opened, they were greeted by the Penguin, who stood waiting. But before Bruce could react, one of Penguin's henchmen struck him from behind with a bat, knocking him unconscious yet again. When Bruce regained consciousness, he found himself face to face with Cobblepot, who immediately began to pummel him with brass knuckles, seething with anger over the fall of his family's empire. But in a surprising twist, Bruce managed to break Cobblepot's hand. Using the chaos to his advantage, he freed himself from his restraints, knocking out Penguin's henchmen before making his way to higher ground. There, he activated the radio in his watch and contacted Alfred, revealing to him that Hugo Strange knew his secret identity. After the brief exchange, Bruce instructed Alfred to have his batsuit and equipment delivered to the Ace Chemicals rooftop. Once fully suited up, Batman integrated the Tiger chip into his cryptographic sequencer, granting him access to their communications network. Through the static, he learned that Catwoman was trapped in the Solomon Wayne courthouse, the lair of Two-Face. Dent was planning to execute her. Strange, seemingly entertained by the situation, ordered his Tiger forces to stand down. Batman infiltrated the courthouse, where he witnessed the two sides of Harvey Dent battling for control. Harvey's personality ultimately won the coin toss, and the so-called trial of Selina began, a makeshift kangaroo court. Two-Face intended to use her execution to rally inmates to his gang and gain enough manpower to wipe out the Penguin and Joker's gangs. Batman took out a sniper watching from the third floor, leaving only Two-Face armed. After handing the case over to his court, Two-Face was momentarily distracted, allowing Batman to strike. he caught the thugs off guard, sending the recruits scattering in fear, while a handful of the more hardened men stayed to fight. Batman defeated them with ease, but once the goons were dealt with, Batman was struck in the chest by a gunshot from Two-Face, the force of the blow slamming him to the ground, though his armor absorbed most of the impact. As he recovered, Two-Face turned to kill Selina, but she quickly escaped his grasp, managing to damage the unscarred side of his face and knock his gun away, disarming him in the process. However, once Two-Face pulled out his second gun, Batman quickly recovered, using his grapple gun to bind him and leave Dent dangling over a tank of acid, a cruel twist of irony. Enraged, Two-Face demanded to be released, accusing Batman of cowardice for resorting to such a tactic. He screamed that fate was the only thing standing between him and killing the Bat. With Two-Face securely tied up, Batman returned to Selina, pressing her for information about Protocol 10. She confessed she had no knowledge of it, but revealed something far more alarming. Joker had been secretly collaborating with Hugo Strange on something specifically designed for Batman. Her suspicion was that this was Protocol 10. Batman then spotted a sniper's laser trained on Catwoman's head. Acting quickly, he pulled her out of the line of fire just before the shot rang out. Realizing only the Joker would be behind such an act, Batman warned Selina to stay out of further trouble, but Catwoman brushed off his caution, telling him that she thrived on the constant danger of Arkham City. Tracing the bullet's trajectory, Batman deduced that the shot had come from the bell tower of the Gotham City Cathedral, which had been converted into the Arkham City Medical Facility. With no time to waste, he exited the courthouse through the back as Two-Face's thugs were barricading the front. Upon making it to the medical center, Batman confronted Harley Quinn and her thugs, who had taken the staff hostage. After a tense standoff, Harley departed, taking Dr. Stacy Baker, a member of the medical team, with her to assist Harley with the Joker. Once Batman had rescued the hostages, he made his way to the bell tower, hoping to uncover more about the Joker's plans and find answers related to Protocol 10. There, he discovered that the Joker had set up bombs throughout the tower. As the explosives detonated, Batman narrowly escaped the blast. Following the signal the Joker used to control his puppets, Batman tracked him to the Industrial District, a region that had since fallen under the Joker's control within Arkham City. Batman made his way to the Sionis steel mill, where he found no obvious entrance. He grappled up to the chimney and landed silently on the guardrail, using the ventilation system to stay hidden. He watched as Harley Quinn ordered her thugs to take Dr. Baker to the smelting chamber, intending to torture her for failing to cure the Joker. Batman proceeded to trick Harley, locking her and the Joker in the manager's office. As Batman made his way to the smelting chamber, he silently took down the thugs guarding Dr. Baker, who had been tormenting her. Once freed, the doctor quickly informed him that the Joker was far worse off than anyone realized. The fact that Harley Quinn was still giving orders, she explained, suggested that Joker was either incapacitated, possibly in a wheelchair, or too proud to show weakness in front of his goons. Batman, puzzled by this, soon learnt the cause of the Joker's condition. The Titan serum he had injected himself with during the Arkham takeover was poisoning him. Dr. Baker revealed that the toxin levels in Joker's blood were dangerously high. He should have died by now, yet he continued to cling to life. She also warned that the Joker's deteriorating health had taken a toll on Harley's mind. If he were to die, the last remnants of her sanity would die with him. The sound of Harley's anguished cries echoed through the halls, prompting Batman to make his way to the manager's office. There, the unsettling tone of a flatlining ECG filled the air. Inside, he found Harley kneeling beside the Joker, her grief unmistakable as she wept over him. Batman verified that the Joker's heart had stopped. He pushed Quinn aside, intent on getting a closer look at the body. In that moment, a healthy Joker's grip seized him from behind. The Joker sprayed Batman with his gas, and a swift hit to the head from Harley's baseball bat knocked the Batman unconscious. Batman soon stirred back to consciousness, only to find Harley hovering over him, about to unmask him. But Joker's voice cut through the air, halting her. He insisted it would spoil the fun between them. Bound to a wheelchair, Batman found himself unable to escape. He scoffed, accusing Joker's supposed illness of being a lie. But then, from the shadows, the Joker emerged, his face a grotesque, misfigured mask of pain and madness. With a twisted grin, he reminded Batman that there was indeed a lot wrong with him. The Joker revealed that his blood was poisoning him, and, in a cruel twist, he had injected some of it into Batman. Unfazed, Batman accepted the fate of dying alongside his enemy, but Joker's grin widened as he revealed the true horror. For weeks, he had been shipping crates of his infected blood to hospitals across Gotham, ensuring that countless innocent lives would also perish with them. Batman concluded that this must be Protocol 10, though it didn't seem to align with Strange's apparent goals. Poisoning Gotham was counterproductive to someone seeking fame, but the Joker only laughed, dismissing the notion. He had no idea what Batman was talking about. The Joker stated that time was running out, and the cure he had sought was nearly in his grasp, only to be stolen at the last moment. Batman promised he would find the cure, but before he could act, a violent shove sent him crashing through the window, plummeting onto the docks below the steel mill, unconscious once more. Batman was roused by the unmistakable sound of circus tunes. He stirred to find a cell phone strapped to his chest. Answering it, he demanded Joker reveal the location of the cure. The Joker explained that he had enlisted Mr. Freeze to create it, but had lost contact with him. Batman crushed the phone, extracting the chip that contained its memory, and inserted it into his gauntlet for hands-free communication. Batman discovered Joker's men gathered outside the old Gotham City Police Department building, celebrating their slaughter of Penguin's men and mocking those still holed up inside. After slipping past them, he intercepted a transmission from Penguin over the radio of a dead thug. Taking the chip, Batman integrated it into his sequencer, gaining access to Penguin's private radio frequency. He then eliminated the remaining thugs inside and, through interrogation, learned that Penguin had imprisoned Mr. Freeze in his museum. Meanwhile, Penguin, seeking to sever Joker's forces, decided to blow up the bridge connecting Amusement Mile to Park Row and the Industrial District, a move that left his own men stranded and enraged in enemy territory. Batman made his way to the Penguin's museum, preparing to confront the crime lord. However, first he had to deal with the security systems Penguin had set up, which were interfering with his equipment. After uploading the necessary data to Alfred at the Batcave and Oracle at the Clock Tower, Batman tracked down and disabled 2 rooftop jammers. Yet, his signal continued to be blocked. Tuning into Penguin's private radio channel, Puffin Zero, Batman learned of a third jammer, this one located underground. Heading to the train station, Batman confronted and disabled the final jammer, all while hearing Penguin's angry threats over the airwaves, warning his men that those guarding the devices would face gruesome punishment if they weren't already suffering. Batman then infiltrated the museum, discovering that the dinosaur exhibit had been repurposed into a grotesque trophy room. Displayed within were twisted tributes to Two-Face and Joker's gangs, propaganda from their territories alongside the corpses of their fallen goons. As he moved through the room, Batman interrupted a group of thugs ganging up on one of their own. After rescuing the thug, he learned that this thug was Elvis Jones, one of the 10 cops Commissioner Gordon had sent into Arkham City at the start of the ordeal. Penguin, aware of their identities, soon found them and began to torture them all. Leaving Elvis Jones with a gun for protection, Batman continued through the museum until he discovered a gladiatorial pit, where the Penguin watched as cages of inmates were forced to fight to the death for the chance to join his crew. Penguin, noticing the Bat, unleashed his recruits and a Titan-infused monster to finish Batman off. Batman soon had his enemies dispatched, and Penguin retreated into the Iceberg Lounge. Batman ventured deeper into the museum, entering an underwater-themed atrium flooded with water. Penguin had used Mr. Freeze's gun to freeze parts of the water, trapping 3 cops in solid ice. Employing a density scanner, Batman managed to free the first cop, then navigated the murky waters, using rafts to reach and rescue the other 2. Along the way, he fought off Tiny, Penguin's vicious pet shark. After securing the cops, Batman moved on to the right hall, which led to the armory. There, he dispatched the goons and freed 3 more officers, leaving them behind to ensure the thugs couldn't rearm. In the armory, Batman discovered Mr. Freeze's suit, indicating that Mr. Freeze was in critical danger, as he would soon die without it. Batman then found the other exit, a corridor lined with display cases that held the remains of those who had wronged Penguin. The recordings revealed that these skeletons were once thugs who had either tried to steal from him or had mocked him, crimes for which Penguin had exacted a brutal punishment. Among the displays was a case containing the stuffed bodies of Buddy and Lou, Joker's cherished pet hyenas. Batman tracked Freeze to the museum war room, but as he approached, he was ambushed by Sickle, Mr. Hammer's twin brother and Penguin's loyal enforcer. After a fierce confrontation, Batman defeated him and freed Victor, who had been trapped in an exhibit that doubled as a deadly oven. Batman pressed Freeze for information, demanding to know the location of the cure, but Freeze, consumed by his thirst for vengeance against Cobblepot, revealed that he cared little for the cure, only for making Penguin pay. Batman then turned his focus to the cryo gun, but Freeze refused to reveal how to bypass it, keeping his secrets to himself. In no mood for mercy, Batman removed the coolant that kept Freeze alive, pushing him to reveal the existence of an override chip in his suit, one that could disable the cryogun, and Batman then returned the coolant to Freeze. He briefly retreated to the armory, where he retrieved the override chip and instructed a cop to bring Freeze a backup coolant container, ensuring the scientists could survive long enough to reclaim his suit. Batman made his way to the Iceberg Lounge, confronting Penguin and using the override to disable the cryo gun. In retaliation, Penguin detonated the iceberg prop, sending Batman crashing into the cellar, Solomon Grundy's prison. The zombie was kept alive by energy drawn from the ground-based generators, but Batman ripped out Grundy's heart and incapacitated him. As Penguin arrived, ready for a fight, Batman made quick work of him, knocking him out with little effort. Batman then returned to the trophy room, where he presented Penguin to the now armored Mr. Freeze. After Freeze stepped on Penguin's broken hand, Freeze locked Cobblepot in a display case, both a fitting punishment and a cruel irony. Once that was done, Batman demanded the cure, but Freeze revealed that there was no cure. It had broken down too quickly after creation. What was needed, he explained, was a restorative enzyme bonded to human DNA. He showed Batman a specific DNA strand that the cure lacked, and Batman quickly recognized it as matching the DNA of Ra's al Ghul. Freeze explained that with a sample, he could synthesize a cure, but Batman pointed out that Ra's was dead. Freeze despaired, believing all hope was lost, but Batman calmly replied that he just needed to resurrect Ra's. One of the League of Assassins members had managed to escape from a display case, leaving a bloodied trail from a wounded shoulder. Batman began to follow the blood trail, but the blood trail ended abruptly with a cloth used to wipe it away, prompting Batman to shift his focus to new evidence. But before he could gather any more, he was attacked by the assassin, whom he recognized as one of Talia al Ghul's personal guards. In a swift exchange of close combat, Batman managed to place a tracer on the assassin without being detected. He was willing to let her escape, but Robin's sudden arrival threw a wrench in his plan. Forced to call his partner off, Batman watched as the assassin seized the opportunity and fled. Batman, meeting with his ward, gave Robin a sample of his own blood, instructing him to track down any hospital that might be treating the same infected blood and to assist however he could. As the night wore on, Batman intercepted chatter from Joker's men, learning that the assassin had descended into the sewers beneath the industrial district. Once underground, Batman followed the signal, which led him back to the train station. There he found a grisly scene. Numerous bodies, likely victims of Killer Croc, who had made the sewers his domain. Batman followed the signal into a forgotten corner of the original Gotham, an area long buried beneath the modern city. After taking out some of Joker's men that were in Old Gotham, Batman continued his search and found more of the gang at the base of Wonder Tower. They were holding an intern doctor hostage while loading up on Tiger weapons from storage. Batman freed the doctor, who revealed that Strange had been abducting any available medical professionals in an effort to heal the Joker. As Batman discussed these things with the doctor, a phone call from the Joker himself revealed a shocking truth. It was Strange who had actually supplied the weapons to Joker, possibly to escalate and control the gang war raging across the city. Batman continued, discovering bodies hung from the ceiling like piñatas, and to his growing concern, his own health was rapidly deteriorating. Batman soon realized the mechanical guardians scattered throughout the area were connected to an unusually advanced video system, far too sophisticated for a device created in the 1800s. Accessing the system, he uncovered how the assassins had been infiltrating the city, despite the main entrance being sealed. There was, in fact, a hidden path, one that could be opened with a blade resembling a key. Batman knocked out an assassin and took her blade, using it to unlock the secret passage and continue his pursuit. As the poison from his infected blood took its toll, Batman began to hallucinate, seeing a vision of his parents welcoming him to the next life. But just as the darkness closed in, Oracle's voice cut through the fog, urging him to quickly get Ra's al Ghul's blood for the cure. She warned him that he had mere minutes left, as the fighting had only accelerated the spread of the poison through his system. Moments later, Batman found himself face to face with the assassins once more, but this time, he was saved by Talia al Ghul. She slapped him, snapping him back to reality, and he greeted her with a weary acknowledgement. When Talia asked how he found the League's hideout, Batman calmly explained that he recognized her guard and had simply placed a tracer on him. Talia then unmasked Bruce and kissed him, but upon opening her eyes, she was taken aback by the sight of his face, which was ravaged from the poison. Batman explained that he needed to see Ra's, but was told that only a true successor to the head of the demon could be granted such an audience. Annoyed and running out of time, Batman used his terminal condition as leverage, demanding the right to undergo the demon trials to prove himself worthy. He drank the blood of the demon, which granted him a few more hours of life, and he soon found himself joining Ross in an astral projection, a spirit world eerily reminiscent of Arkham City. As he flew through the ethereal plane, Batman battled apparitions of assassins, fighting his way through the trials. Upon completion, Ross deemed him worthy to take his place, and now, the final test awaited in the real world, where Batman would face Ross for the ultimate challenge, to become the next head of the demon. Reunited with a stunned Talia, Batman was led into a chamber housing the Lazarus Pit, where a barely alive zombie-like Ra's al Ghul lay. The head of the demon declared that the final test was for Batman to kill him and take his place, but Batman revealed that his apparent willingness to join had been a ruse. He had only sought Ra's blood for the cure. Ra's offered his own sword to be impaled within him, allowing Batman to take the blood he needed. But when Batman refused, Ra's fell into the Lazarus Pit, its strength amplified by electricity, and he emerged fully restored. The two then clashed in combat, with Ra's conjuring an illusionary landscape designed to disorient Batman. Yet despite the mind games, Batman triumphed, while managing to spare Raz's life. Defeated, Raz was tended to by Talia, but in a shocking move, he held a knife to her throat, using her as a pawn to force Batman into killing him and taking his place. But Batman used a reverse batarang to knock Raz unconscious, and then took the sample he needed from Raz. Talia was enraged, calling her father insane for threatening his own flesh and blood. Her fury also turned on Batman, as she had believed that the love between them had finally brought him into the League, only to see it all unravel in an instant. As Talia left, Batman noticed that Raz appeared older than usual, his once vibrant vitality now visibly fading. Raz admitted that he had used the Lazarus Pit too many times, to the point where its regenerative effects no longer lasted. His body and mind had been pushed beyond their limits. Batman then radioed Oracle, explaining the potential of the Lazarus chemical for future research, though he warned her of its dangerous side effects, which could prove disastrous if misused. Returning to the subway, Batman discovered the gruesome aftermath of a brutal power shift. Joker's men had slaughtered loyal members of Penguin's crew while recruiting those willing to follow the Clown Prince of Crime. On the surface, Two-Face's gang had done the same. Amid the chaos, Batman overheard a broadcast from Strange announcing the arrival of Quincy Sharp, former warden of Old Arkham and now the mayor of Gotham. Confused and suspicious, Batman wondered how Strange had managed to get the mayor arrested and put in Arkham City. Taking matters into his own hands, Batman saved Sharp from the chaos and interrogated him, learning that Strange had orchestrated the entire Gotham City system and was working with someone else. Though Batman was eager to dig deeper, Oracle urged him to return to the GCPD. Reluctantly, he complied, knowing there was more urgent matters at hand. Batman then received a call from the Joker, who was growing increasingly paranoid and impatient with the progress of their twisted alliance. Convinced that Batman was planning to double-cross him, the Joker had deployed snipers throughout the amusement mile to keep Batman from reaching the GCPD. The snipers failed to stop Batman, and once inside, he handed Freeze the vial of blood. The scientist placed it into a machine that mixed the blood with the cure, resulting in 2 vials. Freeze locked one away into a safe while holding onto the other. Batman demanded his dose of the cure, only to learn that Freeze had a different plan. He intended to use the cure to force Batman into searching for Mrs. Fries, who had been taken hostage by the Joker. Refusing to be manipulated, Batman rejected the offer, prompting Freeze to shatter the vial in frustration. A fierce fight broke out between them, with Batman ultimately rendering Freeze incapacitated. However, both soon realized that, in the chaos, Harley Quinn had stolen the cure from the safe. Determined to recover it, Batman left, but his path was interrupted when Joker shot down Vicky Vale's helicopter, sending it crashing into Arkham City. After taking out snipers along the way, Batman rescued Vicky, only to receive a mocking call from the Joker, taunting the Bat while laughing at his frustration. Batman made his way to the steel mill, where Joker's thugs were keeping Warehouse 5B locked down. Breaking in, Batman swiftly neutralized the goons trying to defrost Nora Fries. Once Nora was safely out of danger, Batman returned to the GCPD, where he informed Victor Freeze of her location, ensuring she would be taken care of. Despite Joker ramping up security with snipers and guards equipped with ultraviolet goggles to detect him, Batman managed to infiltrate the steel mill. As he advanced, Oracle radioed in with alarming news. Strange had obtained the approval of the City Council to activate Emergency Protocol 10. The protocol was designed to allow him to mass murder the criminal element in the city, effectively cleansing Gotham of crime once and for all by killing every prisoner in Arkham City. As Batman made his way through the steel mill, he encountered Harley Quinn, who had been incapacitated by Talia al Ghul. Batman then made his way to the Joker's room, which led him into a twisted funhouse. As he navigated through, Batman encountered the Joker, and when Joker turned around, it was revealed that he had been mysteriously cured. The two clashed in a brutal fight, with Joker quickly calling in reinforcements, Mr. Hammer, and a hulking Titan creature. The ceiling above Batman suddenly collapsed under the missile attacks from Protocol 10, pinning him down and leaving him unable to defend himself. As Joker loomed over him, ready to deliver the final blow, Talia suddenly appeared. She offered Joker immortality in exchange for Batman's life. Batman, desperately warning her not to make the deal, convinced Joker that she was telling the truth. Intrigued and swayed by the offer, Joker took the deal, sparing Batman's life. He then left with Talia, unaware that she had reactivated the tracking chip Batman had planted on one of her ninjas earlier, before Batman passed out. Batman regained consciousness to find Catwoman clearing debris off him. Together, they managed to free Batman and exchange a few playful jabs before she disappeared to hide. Exiting through a hole in the funhouse, Batman contacted Alfred and informed him that Protocol 10 involved the mass killing of inmates via missile strikes from helicopters. As he attempted to track down Talia, he instructed Oracle to reroute the Wayne Tech satellites to assist in the search. However, both Oracle and Alfred urged Batman to prioritize stopping Strange, who was about to murder everyone, guilty and innocent alike. Realizing they were right, Batman acknowledged that Gotham had to come first. He ordered Oracle to keep tracking Talia's signal, aware that she was out of her depth in this situation. Batman set his sights on the helicopter carrying the master control program for Wonder Tower. Once he secured the program, he made his way to the tower itself and then broke in. Once inside, he found a political prisoner being held hostage by Tiger guards. After neutralizing the guards, Batman was confronted by Strange over the monitors. The professor threatened to kill another prisoner unless Batman listened to him. Strange, clearly delusional, accused Batman of being the true cause of Gotham's chaos. He claimed that Batman had been the catalyst for Gotham's criminal evolution, leading to the rise of the supervillains that Batman had battled over the years. Determined to stop Strange and end the madness, Batman fought his way through the Tiger forces, making his way up to the observation deck where Strange had set up his operation. As Batman overheard Strange's triumphant gloating, he learned that the professor intended to expand the Arkham City program to wipe out the criminals of Metropolis and Keystone. Batman took down the remaining guards and broke into Strange's private room. Strange declared himself the rightful successor to Batman, but the Dark Knight silenced him by smashing his head against the nearby glass. Batman then plugged a remote device into Strange's computer and ordered Oracle to shut down Protocol 10. Enraged, Strange exclaimed that Batman had ruined everything. Batman shoved the mad professor toward the window, forcing him to witness the smoldering ruins of Arkham City and the chaos that Strange had set in motion. Unfazed by his defeat and shameless in what he had done, Strange continued to gloat, boasting that soon he would command forces beyond Batman's comprehension, and that the world would forever thank him for his vision. But before he could say more, a sword suddenly plunged through his chest. Ra's al Ghul had arrived. Ra's declared that Strange's part in his plan was over, silencing the professor. Batman moved to tend to Strange, who, weakened and desperate, begged Ra's al Ghul for more time. Ra's then revealed the truth to Batman. Strange had been working for him all along. The professor had come to Ra's, and Ra's had given him the resources to create Arkham City. But now, Ra's al Ghul declared Batman had proven himself the more worthy successor to the head of the demon. With his final breath, Strange activated Protocol 11, triggering an explosion that obliterated the observation deck. In a desperate attempt to save them both, Batman tackled Ra's out of the window before the blast could consume them. But as the two fell, Batman grabbed Ra's out of the sky, and Ra's pierced himself through the chest to try and kill Batman along with himself, and Batman was forced to let go. Raz's body landed lifelessly on the gate of Arkham City, marking the end of his twisted ambition. Joker then appeared on a television screen in front of the Arkham City gates, revealing that he and Talia were at the Monarch Theater. After taking down the patrols guarding the entrance, Batman infiltrated the theater. Inside, Batman learned that Talia had intercepted the cure from Harley Quinn and, in the process, had seemingly killed Joker with a stab from her sword. But as Batman pieced together the details, he realized the Joker he had seen was not the real one, but a decoy. Batman attempted to warn Talia, but before he could, the real Joker shot her. The Joker which Talia had stabbed was revealed to be Clayface in disguise, who quickly turned on Batman and attacked. Joker then triggered bombs on the floor, sending Batman crashing down into the Lazarus Pit chamber along with Clayface. There, Batman faced off against Clayface and his miniature duplicates. After defeating them, Batman found and gave himself the cure he had been so desperately searching for, leaving only a minuscule amount of the antidote. Joker then prepared to leap into the Lazarus pit to save himself. Thinking quickly, Batman used Talia's sword to bring down some nearby machinery, causing it to fall on Clayface and send him into the pit first. Since Clayface wasn't technically human, the mixture of chemicals from the pit and Clayface's body caused a violent explosion, destroying the Lazarus pit. Joker begged Batman for the rest of the cure. He taunted the Bat, reminding him of how the Joker had poisoned Gotham and killed Talia, all before breakfast, yet he still believed Batman would save him. Batman was torn, the weight of the decision heavy on his shoulders. He had always tried to fix the Joker, but no matter what he did, Joker always escaped and continued his cycle of destruction. Joker then suddenly stabbed Batman's arm in a desperate bid to grab the cure. In the struggle, Batman dropped the vial, and it shattered, spilling the precious solution onto the floor. Joker scrambled to try and ingest it, but it was too late. As death inched closer, Joker's maniacal grin faltered, and he asked, in his own disturbed way, if Batman was finally happy. With Gotham free of the terror he'd caused, the clown prince of crime's last question lingered in the air, the answer unspoken, but deeply understood. Batman stood over the dying clown, his gaze heavy with an unusual solemnity. He muttered something that caught even the Joker off guard. "You were right." Despite all the destruction and death the Joker had wrought, Batman admitted that had the maniac simply asked for the cure, he would have given it to him. But instead, the Joker had chosen to steal it, leading to its destruction. The irony wasn't lost on the Joker. As life slipped from his body, the Joker couldn't help but laugh. Batman emerged from the theater, carrying the Joker's lifeless body, leaving his thugs in stunned silence. They had believed the Joker would somehow cheat death, that immortality was within his grasp. Harley's heart shattered at the sight, her grief raw. Without a word, Batman walked past her, moving through the darkened streets until he reached the gates of Arkham. There, Gordon and the cops were waiting. With a quiet, almost indifferent motion, Batman placed the Joker's body on the hood of Gordon's car, then turned and disappeared into the night. No explanation, no final words, just the cold silence of a mission accomplished. 12 days after the Joker's death, Harley Quinn, consumed by grief and rage, regained control of the industrial district with the help of her old gang. She kidnapped 3 GCPD officers, using them as pawns in her quest for vengeance. The district itself had been transformed into a twisted shrine, with banners and graffiti honoring the Joker's memory at every turn. Commissioner Gordon called Batman in, his voice tense with concern. Harley, he explained, blamed Batman for the Joker's death, and this violent resurgence was all part of her revenge scheme. The Gotham City Police Department, overwhelmed and unable to do more than maintain a perimeter with helicopter patrols, was powerless to act. They had no way of infiltrating the area without drawing attention. It was up to Batman to end Harley's reign of terror before her grief turned into something far worse. Batman made his way to the loading bay office inside the steel mill, where he discovered a police officer being held captive by a group of Harley's thugs. The gang was about to use the police officer as a target for their frustrations, but Batman incapacitated them and freed the officer. Grateful but shaken, the officer informed Batman that others were being held hostage deeper within the mill, Following a blood trail found at the entrance, Batman tracked it to a hidden tiger facility guarded by more thugs. After extracting information from one of them, he pursued 3 henchmen who had the keycards to access the secret entrance. Once inside, Batman uncovered a taunting message from Harley, who had anticipated his arrival. Upon entering the shipyard, Batman quickly located the second officer and dispatched the thugs guarding him. Just as he was about to escape, Harley arrived and attempted to shoot the officer. Batman intercepted the bullet, taking the shot to the chest, though his armor absorbed most of the impact. The force of the hit still left him unconscious. The thugs, seeing their chance, stripped him of his utility belt, triggering the anti-theft shock, which rendered it inert on the floor. With Batman immobilized, Harley sealed him inside of an airtight glass sphere within a towering Joker robot. When he regained consciousness, he realized his belt was gone, and to conserve energy and oxygen, Batman entered a meditative state. 2 days later, Robin arrived at the shipyard and managed to steal Harley's key codes, freeing Batman from the glass sphere. As Batman regained his bearings, Harley revealed her latest scheme. 3 bombs stolen from the GCPD lockup had been planted around the shipyard, set to detonate unless Batman disarmed them. But that was only the beginning. She then activated the Wonder City Mechanical Guardians, sending them to fight Batman in a final act of revenge. After a fierce battle, Batman destroyed the Guardians, deactivated the bombs, and turned his attention to Harley. She revealed that the towering Joker scrap statue was concealing a massive bomb, ticking down to detonate. In the chaos that followed, Batman managed to escape with Harley, but found himself in a desperate search for Robin. Frantic, he turned to Commissioner Gordon, asking if he had seen the boy, only to learn Gordon had assumed Robin was with Batman. Fear gnawed at him as he considered the worst. Robin had been caught in the blast. Letting his guard down, Batman's grief overwhelmed him, but just as Harley prepared to deliver a fatal blow to the grieving Batman, Robin appeared and stopped her. Not only had he survived the explosion, but he had also rescued every officer in the vicinity. Relief washed over Batman, though he masked it quickly, with a curt remark that he stated they were done here. He left the scene. With Harley Quinn arrested, Batman resumed his usual crime-fighting operations while also formulating a plan to reshape Gotham's future, leveraging the resources of Wayne Industries. Sometime in the future, in a quiet, somber moment, both Batman and Gordon attended the cremation of the Joker. As the flames consumed the clown's body, Gordon handed Batman a flash drive that had been retrieved from within the Joker's corpse. The drive contained a recording titled The Last Will and Testament of the Joker, which Batman would later analyze in the Batcave. In the video, the Joker laid out his twisted rationale for the chaos he had unleashed on Gotham. A few days later, Bruce Wayne held a press conference at the entrance to Arkham City, unveiling his ambitious Gotham Reborn initiative, plans for the city's reformation. The event quickly took a violent turn when Harley's thugs launched an attack. Though Bruce and Lucius Fox managed to fend them off, Harley herself appeared, assaulting Fox and stealing his tablet, along with one of his fingerprints for security access. However, the tablet's self-correcting protocol, which required Fox's login every 15 minutes, rendered it useless to her. After Fox was hospitalized, Batman discussed with Oracle the possibility of getting her father to run for mayor, a move that could shift the city's political landscape in their favor. One morning, during a jog with Gordon and Barbara, Bruce revealed his plan to have Gordon run for mayor. Though Gordon initially resisted the idea, both Bruce and Barbara convinced him to reconsider, persuading him to give it a shot. Afterward, Bruce and Gordon headed back to the office to discuss the details further. On another seemingly routine day, Batman made his usual visit to the Batcave, where, after suiting up, he learned that Nightwing and Robin weren't responding to Alfred's attempts to reach them. While Robin's tracer couldn't be found, Batman quickly located Nightwing's signal in Gotham, only to find it stationary. When he arrived at the location, he discovered his former protégé dead. Scanning the scene, Batman deduced that Nightwing had been ambushed by someone skilled enough to overpower him, delivering a brutal beating before snapping his neck. The evidence left Batman confused. Nightwing had appeared to be trying to escape rather than fight back. Further investigation revealed that someone had witnessed the murder and fled the scene. Running the prints, Batman traced them back to a member of Penguin's gang. Batman visited the Iceberg Lounge, where he interrogated Penguin and learned that the suspect he'd been tracking had been killed in a bombing, along with 2 of Penguin's thugs. Heading to the morgue, Batman discovered shrapnel in the bodies, which led him to deduce that the bomb had originated from the sewers. Following this lead, he tracked Robin's signal to the sewers, where Joker's voice mocked him. Batman then found Robin locked behind a gate, which required specific parts to unlock. Robin, convinced the situation was the work of a Joker copycat due to the strange writing around his prison, was stunned when the Joker's voice itself denied it. Before they could make sense of it, Killer Croc appeared and viciously attacked, ultimately killing Robin. Batman suddenly found himself descending an elevator in Arkham, where he began hearing a beeping sound. Investigating a nearby room, he encountered the Joker, only to be trapped inside. As he searched for a way out, Batman's mind turned to the recent murders of Nightwing and Robin. To his horror, he came to the chilling realization that only he himself could have committed these terrible acts. Common criminals couldn't have done it. His reflection in the room's glass shifted, morphing into the Joker, who began to sing a mocking tune, taunting Batman with the ominous promise that soon he would take control of him completely. To Batman's relief, he awoke, realizing it had all just been a nightmare. But as the remnants of fear lingered, a troubling thought took hold. The Joker, he feared, might have had an ace up his sleeve, something Batman hadn't accounted for. Though he had successfully cured himself of the Titan disease, the Joker's blood still flowed through his veins, and its effects were far from predictable. The Joker, already a twisted, altered human, had left a dangerous mark on Batman. He was now haunted by the terrifying possibility that he might one day become the very embodiment of the Joker's madness and violence. Fearing that others might suffer the same fate, Batman used his Bruce Wayne identity to purchase Panessa Studios, claiming it was for a refurbishment project aimed at revitalizing the film industry. In reality, he quickly converted the main lobby into a secure quarantine area, setting up a Bat computer to maintain contact with his allies. Batman then checked on the victims who had received transfusions of the Joker's blood, worried that they might be experiencing the same disturbing nightmares. To his relief, the victims appeared healthy, showing no signs of the Joker's influence. The cure seemed to be working, but Batman soon discovered discrepancies in hospital records, revealing that 4 individuals had not received the cure for the Titan disease as intended, all of which eventually began showing symptoms of madness, becoming like the Joker. Batman later invited Commissioner Gordon to Panessa Studios, where he revealed that the Joker had left a sinister, going-away present in his blood. When a puzzled Gordon asked about the fifth and empty cell he saw, the other four containing those who had become like the Joker, Batman explained that the unused quarantine cell had been set aside for himself, just in case he began to lose control. After a tense moment, Gordon agreed to keep the existence of these new Jokers a secret. That year, on Halloween night, Scarecrow unleashed a deadly new strain of fear toxin in a diner, before threatening to spread it throughout Gotham. 6 million civilians were evacuated, but the city's criminals and supervillains remained behind, leaving Commissioner Gordon and the Gotham City Police outnumbered. Batman met Gordon on the rooftop of the Gotham City Police Department, sharing a lead on Scarecrow's whereabouts. After leading Gordon to handle these things below, Batman intervened to rescue an officer from a group of criminals and narrowly saved him from being run over by a military vehicle. Pursuing the driver in the Batmobile, Batman launched missiles, crashing the vehicle before interrogating its driver. Following the lead, Batman discovered Scarecrow's hideout and rescued Poison Ivy from a rooftop safe house, which she had been held captive by Scarecrow's henchmen. As Batman made his way to the Gotham City Police Department lockup with Ivy in tow, he was ambushed by 3 militia soldiers sent by an unknown commander. Using remote controls for the Batmobile, he incapacitated the militia soldiers. Once he reached the GCPD lockup, he secured Ivy in a containment cell. At a makeshift Batcave in the clock tower, Barbara was gathering intel on Scarecrow's new fear toxin, while Batman worked on activating the radio towers. He successfully activated the first tower at Panessa Studios, but soon learned that militia soldiers had taken a hostage at the Falcone shipping yard. After neutralizing 2 of them, Lucius sent him a high-tech bat suit, enhancing his combat abilities. Batman dispatched the remaining militia soldiers, rescued the hostage, activated the second tower, and traced the toxin's production to the Ace Chemicals plant. When Batman made his way there, he was confronted by the mysterious Arkham Knight in a heavily armed military chopper while crossing the bridge. Battling through the Knight's forces, Batman saved 2 workers caught in the crossfire, and then proceeded to confront Scarecrow, who had rigged the Ace Chemicals building to explode. During the interrogation, Crane revealed a chilling piece of information. He knew that Barbara Gordon was Oracle. Batman immediately tried to contact Barbara to warn her, but the communication was cut off. As Scarecrow fled, Batman was exposed to the fear toxin, and the effects were immediate and horrifying. The toxin, combined with his mutated blood, triggered vivid hallucinations of the Joker. After escaping from Ace Chemicals, Batman discovered that Barbara had been abducted by the Arkham Knight. Rushing to the Gotham City Police Department, he informed Gordon of the grim news, which immediately alarmed the commissioner, and Batman was forced to reveal to Gordon that Barbara had been involved in his crime-fighting operations. Furious, Gordon swore he would find his daughter on his own, without Batman's help. Batman then analyzed the tire tracks left by the Arkham Knight's vehicle, leading him to Grand Avenue Station. Batman traced the vehicle's path and found it crashed. Scanning the crime scene, he discovered that Oracle had been the one to cause the crash in an escape attempt, leaving behind a clue while she tried to crawl away. Batman traced the Arkham Knight to an underground tunnel network where he was ambushed by the Knight and his militia. after taking down the militia soldiers, Batman pursued the Arkham Knight in his vehicle and managed to crash it by firing the Batmobile's immobilizer. However, he soon discovered the driver was a decoy. Batman interrogated the driver, but when he refused to talk, Batman used intimidation tactics, remotely controlling the Batmobile to hover inches from the man's head. Under pressure, the driver revealed that the Arkham Knight had met with Penguin, who had supplied him with weapons from his hideout at North Refrigeration. Batman met up with Nightwing on a rooftop overlooking the ferry terminal. Nightwing explained that Penguin had been using North Refrigeration trucks to smuggle weapons out of Bloodhaven, and suspected that Penguin was stockpiling arms in Gotham. Before parting ways, Nightwing gave Batman a new prototype disruptor, capable of jamming firearms and tracking vehicles. Batman used the gadget to follow the North Refrigeration van back to Penguin's hideout. There, Batman confronted and interrogated Penguin, who divulged that the Arkham Knight and Scarecrow were planning to meet with Simon Stagg, a businessman who ran a pharmaceutical company. Batman traveled to Stagg's airship, determined to capture Scarecrow. Upon infiltrating the first airship, he rescued Stagg from the Arkham Knight's militia, but soon found himself overwhelmed by disturbing hallucinations of the Joker. Struggling to regain control, Batman eventually snapped out of the vision, only to discover that Stagg had been taken to the second airship by the militia. Batman infiltrated the research lab on the second airship, where he used Stagg's fingerprint scans to bypass security and gain access to critical information. There, he learned that Scarecrow had paid Stagg to create a device called the Cloudburst. However, Stagg had attempted to double-cross them. Batman found Stagg locked up, demanding answers, but before Stagg could respond, he was subjected to fear toxin as punishment by Scarecrow's men. Batman knocked out Stagg and left him behind, focused on pursuing Scarecrow. When Batman finally confronted Crane, he was once again exposed to fear toxin, triggering another powerful hallucination. After Batman managed to break free from the fear toxin's grip, Scarecrow made his mistake, tearing the front of the airship apart with a militia helicopter piloted by the Arkham Knight. As the chaos unfolded, Batman received a message from Scarecrow revealing that Barbara was being held at the same safe house where Poison Ivy had been kept. But by the time Batman reached her, it was too late. Barbara had been exposed to fear toxin, who proceeded to take her own life as a result. Devastated, Batman informed Alfred that Barbara was gone, consumed by guilt and drowning in the weight of her tragic end. Alfred, though sympathetic, informed Batman that the Cloudburst was designed to flood all of Gotham with fear toxin, turning the entire city into a living nightmare. Knowing that time was running out, Batman turned to Ivy for help due to her fear toxin immunity. Batman arrived at the GCPD lockup and transported Ivy to the Gotham Botanical Gardens. It was there that she used her power to control a massive tree, growing giant flowers capable of neutralizing the fear toxin. Following another confrontation with the militia and the deployment of the plant, Batman returned to Panessa Studios, where he spoke with Robin about his progress in finding a cure for the Joker mutations. However, knowing that Tim Drake was dating Barbara, he withheld the devastating truth about her death. Next, Batman traveled to Founders Island to disable the radar towers blocking his ability to locate the Cloudburst. After shutting down the towers, he went to Queen Industries to destroy the Arkham Knight's missile launchers, while lowering the 3 bridges to bring in the Batmobile. Batman was ambushed in the control room by the Arkham Knight and his men. The Knight taunted Batman, but before Batman could extract any answers, the Knight used a smoke bomb to vanish. Batman swiftly took down the remaining militia forces then controlled the Batmobile to fire at and destroy the missile launcher. Batman then went and accessed Oracle's computer at the clock tower when an urgent call from Henry Adams, a contact at the movie studios, interrupted him. Harley Quinn had seized control of the studios, intending to rally the mutated citizens and continue the Joker's twisted legacy. Upon arriving, Batman and Robin began searching for the hostages, but during the search, Batman was struck by a haunting hallucination of Jason Todd's brutal death at the Joker's hands. Upon recovering from the hallucination, Robin and Batman continued rescuing patients and returning them to their cells, but during this process, Harley Quinn made her appearance. In a fierce battle, Batman emerged from a floor grate and quickly subdued Harley and her gang. But when he arrived at the holding cells with Harley in tow, he was met with a grim scene. All the patients were dead. It was Henry, now fully mutated, who had slaughtered them. Driven by a warped desire to crown the best of the infected as the new Joker, Henry confronted Batman, only to take his own life upon realizing that Batman, too, was tainted by the Joker's blood and had the potential to be the best Joker of all. Robin, now realizing the extent of Batman's condition, tried to intervene, but Batman couldn't be locked up now. He instead locked Robin in a cell, and then revealed to him what had happened to Barbara. He told Robin he needed no help, especially not while Scarecrow still posed a threat. Left behind, Robin seethed with outrage, unable to accept Batman's descent into isolation. Batman received word from Alfred about seismic disturbances on Miagani Island. Upon investigation, he discovered that the source was the roots of plants erupting from the ground, destroying the Arkham Knight's tanks. Determining the situation too dangerous for Ivy to remain in the botanical gardens, Batman intended to escort her to the safety of the Gotham City Police Department, but Ivy refused to go, insisting that Gotham's plants could not heal the city without her. Just then, Alfred's voice crackled through the comms, informing Batman that the cloudburst had been located on Perdition Bridge, mounted to the Arkham Knight's tank. Before Batman could respond, the device unleashed a burst of fear gas. To their growing horror, Batman and Ivy realized that the cloudburst was not only sustaining a fog of fear toxin, but was also draining the life from the plants surrounding it. In a desperate act, Ivy connected herself to one of the plants, using her own energy to keep it alive. Meanwhile, Batman grappled to a higher vantage point, hearing Alfred's grim warning. Prolonged exposure to the toxin would cause irreparable psychological damage. As the situation grew dire, Scarecrow broadcasted his voice across the city, declaring that Gotham had now become the City of Fear. The crisis deepened when Batman discovered that the fear gas had fried the Batmobile's power cell, and Batman was forced to turn to Simon Stagg for help in recharging the Batmobile. Returning to the airship, Batman fought his way through militia, searching for Stagg, and eventually located the scientist. Stagg revealed that the cloudburst was powered by a Nimbus cell, a highly volatile component that could only be countered by another Nimbus cell within the EMP field it generated. Batman plunged into the thick fear toxin cloud, holding a Nimbus cell tightly as he descended to power up the Batmobile. The toxic haze triggered a surge of hallucinations, and Batman began seeing the rioters as twisted reflections of the Joker, each one mocking him, urging him to give in. Alfred informed him that the two plants Ivy had been using weren't enough to halt the toxin's spread. He needed to find a third, located on Founders Island. With little time to waste, Batman descended underground with the Batmobile to continue his assault on the Arkham Knight's tanks. As he fought through the chaos, the Joker's taunting voice echoed in his mind, trying to persuade him to abandon the fight and to let Gotham fall. But Batman refused to relent. Following the guidance of Ivy, he located the roots of the third plant and awakened it. Ivy used the plant to lift the Batmobile back to the surface, its massive roots breaking through the earth. The plant's growth spread around the church on Founders Island, creating a protective barrier against the Knight's forces. Batman turned his focus to the Arkham Knight, pursuing him to Bleak Island. With the bridge locked down, the Knight was trapped, and a brutal confrontation ensued. Scarecrow, advising the Knight to retreat, was met with defiance, which infuriated him, especially as the cloudburst was never meant to be used as bait to draw Batman in. Batman launched missiles at the tank, crippling it, and then dragged the Knight from the wreckage just before it exploded. In the ensuing struggle, the Knight tried to choke Batman, but was overpowered and beaten into submission. However, in the chaos, Batman hallucinated the Joker in place of his enemy, and in that moment of distraction, the Arkham Knight managed to slip away. Batman then contacted Ivy, but received no response. Fearing the worst, he raced to the botanical gardens, where he found her emerging weakly from her tree. As she collapsed into his arms, she whispered, "Nature always wins," before succumbing to death. Her body dissolved into the night, carried away by the wind, while the tree's pollen gradually purified the city's air. Moments later, Alfred radioed in, commending Batman for saving Gotham with Ivy's aid. But with a heavy heart, Batman informed him of her death, and Alfred, though sorrowful, noted that it had been a noble end. Batman entered the GCPD to investigate an encrypted message, only to discover it was from Commissioner Gordon, who had been captured while chasing Scarecrow. Tracing Gordon's location to an abandoned mall, the Arkham Knight's headquarters, Batman descended underground. There, the Knight used a personal drill to attack Batman, forcing him to fight his way out. Cornered in a dead end, Batman ejected from the Batmobile just before the drill obliterated it. He continued on foot and eventually found Gordon. Upon finding him, Batman saw him being tortured by militia soldiers, but Batman intervened, taking the militia out and rescuing the Commissioner. The Arkham Knight soon caught up to Batman and Commissioner Gordon, revealing himself as none other than Jason Todd, the second Robin, whom Batman had long believed was killed by the Joker. Jason, consumed by anger and resentment, blamed Batman for abandoning him to his torturous fate at the Joker's hands. He lashed out at Batman, and the two engaged in a brutal confrontation. Despite Batman's attempts to reach him, Jason refused to listen, his pain too deep to overcome. Batman eventually defeated him, offering help and hoping they could somehow reconcile. But when Batman called Alfred to inform him of Jason's identity, the Arkham Knight had already vanished from his hideout. Batman and Gordon then went to confront Scarecrow, and Gordon, his anger softened, confessed that he had never forgotten the night he first met Bruce Wayne. Now understanding Batman's true identity, a secret he had learned from overhearing Jason. As they confronted Scarecrow, it was revealed that Barbara was alive. Her death had been a hallucination induced by the fear toxin. In exchange for his daughter's life, Gordon had struck a deal with Scarecrow, as he proceeded to shoot Batman off the roof. Scarecrow, breaking the deal anyway, sent Barbara tumbling off the roof next. Batman, who had been intentionally shot by Gordon in his armored suit, managed to save Barbara and return her to the police department in the second Batmobile. Batman then discovered that the Arkham Knight's militia, now under Scarecrow's command, had attacked the clock tower to destroy vital servers. Needing those servers to track down Gordon, Batman fought through the militia and regained control of the tower. Scarecrow then launched a full-scale assault on the GCPD, overwhelming the remaining officers with his forces. After neutralizing the last of the militia, Batman uncovered that Gordon's voice had been used to access the movie studios. Rushing there, he found that Joker had kidnapped Robin, threatening to kill both him and Gordon unless Batman surrendered. Batman was then taken to the ruins of Arkham Asylum, where his mind betrayed him with vivid hallucinations. He found himself walking through Crime Alley, reliving the painful memory of his parents' death, only to be confronted by a series of distorted, mocking Jokers. The hallucinations escalated until Joker, in a final cruel act, pushed Batman to the brink by forcing him to break the Joker's neck. As the vision faded, Batman stumbled to the Arkham Mansion. Scarecrow, eager to break him, ordered Commissioner Gordon to unmask Batman live on television. With visible hesitation, Gordon complied, exposing Bruce Wayne's secret identity to the world. The torment didn't end there. Scarecrow relentlessly injected Bruce with fear toxin, intensifying his suffering as he sought to shatter his will completely. Inside his mind, Batman fought a desperate battle against the Joker's overwhelming influence. The Clown Prince had nearly taken control, twisting Batman's thoughts into nightmarish visions. In one such hallucination, Batman saw the Joker trapped with his usual allies: Penguin, Two-Face, Riddler, and Killer Croc, each ready to end him. But the Joker summoned a Jokerized version of the Batmobile, which crushed Croc, freed himself, and wiped out the gang members in brutal fashion. The Joker was then confronted by the ruins of Gotham, as Batman haunted him in the most intimate way, forcing him to witness his own demise. A portrait of Batman carrying his lifeless body, a vandalized memorial, and a lonely grave visited only by Harley, who remained silent. Gotham, it seemed, had forgotten him. As the images grew more painful, Batman emerged from the shadow of a statue, materializing as an unstoppable force that relentlessly pursued the Joker. Desperate to escape, the Joker tried to flee into the light, only to find himself trapped in Arkham Asylum's extreme isolation. In that stark, silent cell, Batman faced him one last time. There, Batman realized the true source of Joker's fear, the idea that his legacy, his very existence, would fade into oblivion, and that Gotham would forget the chaos he had caused. With that, Batman locked Joker away forever, sealing him in the darkest corner of his mind, bidding his eternal nemesis a final farewell. Once Batman's mind had cleared, Scarecrow injected him once more with his fear toxin, expecting it to break him. But to his astonishment, the toxin was purged from Batman's system. Standing tall and unwavering, Batman defiantly told Scarecrow that he was not afraid. Perplexed by this unexpected resistance, Scarecrow put a gun to Bruce's head, declaring that without fear, life was meaningless. Suddenly Jason, now fully transformed into the Red Hood, had arrived and saved Batman. Batman, seizing the opportunity, injected Scarecrow with his own toxin, rendering him helpless and powerless in a matter of moments. Although Batman's secret identity was now exposed, he took both Scarecrow and Commissioner Gordon back to the precinct, where Officer Cash assured him that he was still on his side. In a surprising twist, Cash even mentioned a convenient fax error had prevented an arrest warrant for Bruce Wayne from being processed, keeping him safe, at least for the time being. After ensuring that every remaining supervillain threat was neutralized, Batman returned to the police department. In a quiet, somber moment, he left his cowl next to the bat signal and said a final farewell to Commissioner Gordon before beginning the Nightfall Protocol. As Bruce Wayne made his way back to Wayne Manor, an explosion rocked the estate. The mansion was obliterated in an instant, and to the outside world, it appeared that both Bruce Wayne and Alfred had died in the blast, their deaths marking the end of the Dark Knight's reign. In truth, both Bruce and Alfred had survived. The destruction of Wayne Manor was not the end, but part of a carefully orchestrated plan. Bruce understood that the city would need something far more fearsome than the Batman to confront the rising tide of chaos. With his old life seemingly gone, Bruce retreated into the shadows, biding his time. He would rebuild himself, forging a new persona from the ashes of the Batman, one that could strike terror into the hearts of Gotham's worst criminals. A year after Bruce's apparent death, Gotham had changed. James Gordon, now mayor of the city, was preparing to attend Barbara and Tim Drake's wedding when something unexpected occurred. In an alley, a shadowy figure resembling Batman intervened as a gang of criminals attempted to mug a boy and his parents. The thugs, confident that the Dark Knight was dead, laughed off the threat, but their bravado quickly turned to terror when they were hit with a dose of Scarecrow's fear toxin. As the hallucinations took hold, they saw the figure transform into a massive flaming bat monster, its wings spreading wide as it swooped down to strike them with overwhelming fear. This new, brutal incarnation of Batman was far more terrifying than his previous form. No longer content with merely subduing criminals, he now used fear as a weapon, exposing his enemies to Scarecrow's toxin and warping their perceptions. To those who encountered him, Batman appeared as a demonic entity, his batsuit now adorned with a fiery bat emblem and a monstrous, nightmarish face. The terrifying phenomenon would soon be known as the Demon Bat, a name coined by Jack Ryder and others who witness the figure's reign of terror. As rumors of this new terror spread, Superman, the protector of Earth, sought out the mysterious figure. Eventually, he found Batman, who had been operating in the shadows, isolated from the public eye. In a rare moment of cooperation, Superman convinced Batman to come back into the light and formed the Justice League. This marked the beginning of Batman's return to the public spotlight, and he ceased using the fear toxin, choosing instead to fight crime through a more direct but still imposing presence. The Justice League soon expanded when the Flash, Green Lantern, and Wonder Woman joined their ranks, and they soon faced and defeated the Sinestro Corps. In the aftermath, Batman began crafting a contingency plan for the unlikely yet dangerous possibility of a Justice League member, himself included, turning rogue. Only Wonder Woman was trusted with the knowledge of this secret strategy. 5 years after the Justice League's formation, Batman, along with Green Lantern and Superman, fell under Brainiac's control. Under his influence, they aided in Brainiac's invasion of Metropolis, with Bruce serving as second in command. The Dark Alliance lasted 3 weeks, until he was forced to confront the Suicide Squad. After a difficult battle, the Suicide Squad emerged victorious, and in a final blow, it was Harley Quinn who brought an end to the Dark Knight and the life of Bruce Wayne.